And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the fourth episode of the RSN Zone. I guess I should call it. Andrew Mild with Mike Dewan and Steve Pachalski. And Mike, you're saying this off camera before we even got on air. You cannot believe it is already week 9, the regular season finale.
I mean, it's a cliche. It's a cliche we say just about every show, but it really flies by, especially when you're having fun. And more importantly, this is a time of the season where these teams, especially Steve, they got to be playing their best brand of football too.
Yeah, and it's new birth for those teams that have had a tough season, and it's moving on forward for teams like Crown Point that have been having a great year so far. So it's time for everybody to buckle up and let's get ready for the playoffs.
And speaking about the playoffs, had selection Saturday and last week, and it looks like there's a lot of really good games. Not only today, like we're going to be watching a few of them with you, but there's some really good ones next week. But there's that one playoff game where we're not being able to broadcast. We're going to have highlights coming in. That is going to be Wheeler and Griffith. That should be a slobber knocker of a game tonight.
To say the absolute least. Again, we got some highlight clips coming in here now, the warm-ups. But again, this is a game with playoff implications. The winner of this game wins their respective side of the GSSC. Obviously, of course, Griffith coming in with the undefeated record too. That's something to play for. But both these teams have been peaking at the right time. Griffith just about for them all season. Wheeler now 5-game winning streak, hoping to make it 6 on their end.
Definitely. Really looking forward to seeing the outcome of this game and seeing what happens. I'm looking at the Griffith field here, and that's not the field I'm used to. I'm used to the old boneyard with the mud in the middle by now, but this will give both teams an opportunity to show their best and may the best team win.
That was my reaction as a Crown Point graduate to seeing Lowell's turf field for the first time. Not used to that. I am also used to grass and mud, but that's a game that we're going to be seeing tonight. Michael Bradner on the call there. It's going to be Lowell versus Andrean, who's ranked number 4. And Andrean, they got the biggest win of the season last week, beating Hanover Central 3-0. No, that's not a baseball score. That is very indeed a football score. And Finley made the catch of the year on top of that.
I mean, that was Odell Beckham-like. But again, to go in and play Hanover Central and shut them out for the first time since 2018, the 2018 season, that is not easy to do. Kudos to Andrean, again, playing football at the right time. Sometimes all it takes is 3 points.
I was amazed. Sorry, guys, I wasn't watching the RSN Zone last week, but I did have the scores up, and I kept thinking, when are they going to update that score? Because it can't be 3-0. Hanover can't be getting shut out, and Andrean can only be scoring 3 points. And when it came up final, I was like, oh my gosh, what a game that must have been. It's one of those games that, you look at the score and think, had to have been boring, but that had to have been a great game to watch.
For me, it's because Andrean gets to come home, play Lowell. Both teams coming in at 4-4. Andrean then gets to play Whiting, a team that has been struggling lately to open up sectionals. So Andrean, that win right there has to be carrying a lot of, as you said, a wave of momentum and giving your guys a lot of confidence. Like, hey, we just hung with the best team in our conference for the last 2 years and beat them by 3. So their defense, they're getting hot at the right time.
Again, and they got a running game too as well.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about this yesterday on Region Football Weekly, but this was a team that was not really able to run the football that well. Again, having Drake Bowen in your backfield for a few seasons, that's awfully nice as a running back. But then I was kind of trying to find someone to at least emulate or offer some sort of production in the running game. They saw it last week from Ethan Reyna, a sophomore step up in the backfield. When you do that, we know they could throw the football as well with their quarterback. Jimmy Finley could make more one-handed catches as well, especially when the DBs are in the box trying to combat that run.
And you have to wonder what the week of practice was like over at Hanover this week. They had to have been kind of shell-shocked. Big thing for Brian Parker to get that team back up, believing in itself, and getting themselves ready for playoffs.
I'll tell you one thing, I would not want to be the Hammond Central Wolves today having to go up against Hanover Central, because they're going to come in wanting to beat someone up pretty bad. And unfortunately for Hammond Central, it looks like it could be that team. Getting a look at what's going on at LC, as that's a DAC matchup that will also be featured on the RSN Zone. Leo Stodeker and Jay Simmons are there. The number 6 Valpo Vikings, who are 5-3, 4-2 in conference play. Lake Central at 3-4. But for the Indians, this is a big game for them, guys, not because they're playing Valpo, but also because they got Penn next week. And Penn's a really good football team, and it kind of gives them an idea of where they stand compared to Penn, as Valpo and Penn usually open up the season against one another.
Yeah, the good thing about the 6A, they'll have a week to rest. Again, with that 5 and 6A, they'll have that next week off, which is nice. But they got to get ready for a Penn team that's going through some turnover a little bit. It's not your typical Penn team. They lost, I was reading before this, 10 of 11 starters on defense, and of course a new head coach over there taking over for again their longtime head coach. But still, that's a very solid team and a tough place to travel. Lake Central obviously hoping to maybe upset a very solid Valparaiso team. And again, another game we got Lowell and Andrean. Two games, I'd like to say, where we got a team that's kind of in the driver's seat for their respective season and a team playing them that could play a little bit of spoiler.
And you think back to this game last year under kind of the same circumstances. Lowell rose up and put a little hurting on Andrean, and you wonder if that had a little effect on them going into the playoffs last year.
And we'll have one other game, and that will be Merrillville versus Chesterton. Looks like they could be experiencing some technical difficulties there, but the Merrillville Pirates, Mike, you told me this a few weeks ago. They're getting hot at the right time, and if they would have played Crown Point later on in the season instead of so early, they might have stuck with them a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It's definitely a big hypothetical, but hey, nonetheless, all you're worried about from here on out is 5A, okay? Maybe the conference is out of reach right now if you're the Merrillville Pirates, but you want to be playing some good football. And again, their floor for them, they're hoping to try and win a couple titles at their respective class size, and they're playing some good football right now, specifically offensively, as this ball now gets away over there at Lake Central.
Yeah, Valpo and LC has just started. LC will start with the ball. Valpo will start on defense, and that's a nice little return to open it up. Looks like they're going to start around the 40. I was surprised to see how many points Valpo had given up defensively last week against Portage. I thought that the defense would have played better, and again, I'm not sure if they're dealing with injuries, but I've seen Valpo play a few times earlier this year. Usually their defense is locked down, one of the best you're going to find in the region.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is another unit that has kind of suffered some loss due to graduation. Again, a team that has, they graduated a lot of pieces from those solid, of course, a state championship winning team, as well as a team that did a lot in their respective playoffs. Of course, they came up short last year, but nonetheless, you got to put some new pieces in the puzzle for the Valparaiso Vikings.
Yeah, Valpo's one of those teams that's always clicking when the playoffs come.
So it was a play action screen pass, and of course we're talking about Valpo's defense. They got there pretty quickly. Looked like they lost about 2 or 3 yards. Yeah, Valpo ranked number 7 in the Enigenberg rankings this week. LC just trying to capture a win here to close out the regular season. Kind of a mixed bag sort of season for the Indians.
Yeah, it's and I've been kind of saying this seemingly every week. I mean, it's kind of one step forward, 2 steps back. Steve, you and I were at their homecoming game against Chesterton, a game that I'd like to say, had won in that second half. They struck pretty quickly, and then before you know it, Chesterton gives the ball to Andrew Govea the entirety of the second half, and then they steal that one on homecoming.
Yeah, that had to have been had put their thinking caps on and get that defense settled and see what happens here in their last game heading into the playoffs.
They got a couple of yards there and a keeper from their quarterback. So back to the original line of scrimmage of 3rd and 10. Other big games, Crown Point is taking on Michigan City, which I read, guys, that Crown Point hasn't lost a regular season game since October of 2021, which I believe it. And they haven't lost a home game in forever, and it looks like they won't lose a regular season home game this year if they're in Michigan City. Another pass, but they're going to have to keep it. No one there. First down. There you go. Stretching out that defense of the Valpo Vikings.
Yeah, it looks like, again, they're moving the ball as well. And looks like Lowell's going to get their first crack at it against Andrean. But yes, for Lake Central, offensively, you want to try and start to, again, take advantage of this younger defense.
Yeah, Lowell's got the ball first against Andrean, but it looks like their camera went out there. But I saw a flag was called. Handoff up the middle. About 3 or 4 yards. That's respectable. After starting second and 14, it looked like. Lost about 3 or 4 yards on that screenplay that Valpo snuffed out pretty quickly. And we start looking for Merrillville and Chesterton to get started. Hobart and Highland will be playing later on today, and that will be Lowell's opponent in sectionals, the Hobart Brookies. KV and Munster going on, LaPorte and Portage. Portage drew Crown Point for their first sectional game. Nothing going there.
I think it's senior night at a lot of these schools as well. Now, week 9 again. Of course, some schools do senior night at the beginning of the year, but I think a lot of schools are still sticking to that tradition. Steve, you and I again last time we were at Lake Central, we were there for homecoming. A senior night again. It's kind of, you could speak on this too, Andrew, but there's a little bit of distractions. We could say, although it's an emotional night, there's some things that kind of throw off your routine.
Sure, senior night maybe not quite as much as homecoming. The festivities for senior night seem to be early, before the game. Oh, there we go.
Slide route over the middle, and they're going to break it for a touchdown. Oh, wow. That was easy enough. Where was the coverage? You didn't see a single Viking on the screen after the receiver brought it in.
I mean, I think that was Kubacki on the catch there, a fantastic receiver for Lake Central. But yeah, it looked to be a slant route across the middle. And again, that's getting things started for Lake Central. Good to get on the board first. Still got a ways to go. We saw this last week from Valparaiso as well. They went down 10-0 to the Indians of Portage. How do you respond?
Valparaiso seems to be the kind of team that takes a punch before it wakes up and starts playing.
Which, going into the playoffs, that has to be a very important characteristic for your team to have. And when something like that happens, where broken coverage, miscommunication, you're going to be playing some really good teams. And if you want to try and get back to state like Valpo was a few years ago, you're going to get hit. But you got to make sure you get back up off the mat and land some haymakers of your own.
I mean, that's why I'm interested to see, again, in a game like Griffith and Wheeler. I mean, Wheeler's gotten punched in the mouth twice already. And Griffith, again, it's great to be 8-0. Of course, that's the goal, but they haven't really quite been tested yet. They had a close game against River Forest a few weeks ago, but it's been just smooth sailing for the Panthers so far.
Griffith is like the quietest 8-0 team I think I've ever experienced. They're just kind of sitting in the shadows there. Not surprised that they're 8-0, but this will be a big test from today with Wheeler.
I did some research on this. If Griffith wins today's game, it'll be the first time they've gone undefeated in the regular season since 1997.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure that team went to the state.
I think they won state.
Yeah,
I think
they won state.
So, I mean, that's good company to be in, to say the absolute least. And obviously, we're going to keep tabs on that game as we kind of move forward. We got Thomas Marsh there bringing in some highlights eventually, but big game to say the least.
We love you, Thomas. Keep working hard out there and stay warm. It's starting to get a little chillier. It's starting to feel like football weather. We were just talking about that, too. A lot of warm ones to open up the season. And we still got Justin Cole behind the laptop. He's off camera, doing a good job as he sends us back to LC. LC just scored, what was that, Abe? A 45-yard touchdown? It was somewhere around that area.
I'd say give or take. I mean, they drove down the field a little bit. Again, got the open, a great kickoff return to start things off. Then a pass across the middle, and again, an untouched receiver. They'll take it.
Late flag coming in here. Oh, it's going to be a face mask, so it's going to set Valpo up with better field position.
There was the kickoff for Griffith and Wheeler. So Wheeler started with the ball. And here we go. Yeah, Wheeler out of the pistol. This team loves to throw the football, so I wonder if that's where they go with here. Their quarterback leading the region in passing, just ahead of Noah Ehrlich of Crown Point.
And again, they could run the football too. Jaden Ortiz is a tough runner playing both ways. They're a high potent offense. We'll see maybe a lot of points. Who knows? Again, these are two well balanced teams as well. Yeah,
I watched Wheeler a few weeks ago, and they were running the ball especially well. I think it was against River Forest, and they just could not stop them. It was just the easiest adjustment for them.
They're kind of that backwards thing that's the rage nowadays, where it used to be run the ball to set up the pass, but now pass the ball, set up the run. And as Mike said, Jaden Ortiz is a really tough runner.
Who needs play action? Just drop back and let it rip, right? Speaking about running the ball, that's Valpo's whole identity. Thomas Bera, one of the best running backs you're going to find in the region, getting the carry there. It's actually listening to a story about Bera where they had a tree at Valpo, and then you can sign an ornament and then put it up on what you're looking for. It looks like he was a big play at Merrillville Chesterton, and that's a touchdown. And is that Chesterton that just found the end zone?
I believe it was a blocked punt.
Blocked punt for a touchdown.
We got a little light show there, but how about that? Chesterton getting to him early, and again, Lake Central as well. But now we got a big run here. Hello.
There's a lot of action going on. Hard to keep up with what's going on around the region. Chesterton scoring a touchdown on a blocked punt against Merrillville, and then Thomas Bera breaking for a long run, and they're in LC territory. But there was a young Valpo fan that wanted a Thomas Bera signed football, and that's exactly what he got for Christmas a year ago.
That's awesome.
So it was really cool to see that as Bera is getting a carry.
Did an extra point get blocked then?
I'm not sure. I didn't see a signal from the referee, but I think that, so 6-0. Now Chesterton after that block punt, but they struck early, and now Valparaiso just like that in the red zone with some business.
Well, I think if one of the tapes that they had was that Chesterton tape, I think they're going to stick to the running the ball.
I'm curious to see what that block punt is going to mean for Chesterton and Merrillville. Play action and incomplete pass right through the hands of the intended target. But I'm doing the Butler-Dayton game, and they were talking about how when there's a block punt, it's an 80% chance that you're going to win that game. And I got to wonder if that's going to be the same for Chesterton. But again, Merrillville's offense is very explosive. Their defense is great. But Chesterton, they've been determined ever since they lost their starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, again, they stick to running the football. Andrew Govea is their guy in the backfield, to say the least, and he's an absolute bell cow, and you got to respect that. I'd like to see a little bit more dimensional offense, though, but you can only ask for so much. But they're doing what they can, and, hey, obviously striking first, it may not have to be an offensive score, and obviously you have to do that against this Merrillville team.
And Chesterton at 5-3, very quietly putting together a good season. One of the better seasons they've had in the last few.
Definitely a very quiet. Yeah, when I saw they, again, 5 wins, I mean, suffered I want to say, again, that, it's kind of bumps and bruises here and there. Again, when you got to play Crown Point as well, that's not easy to do. But still a 5-3 record. And again, it's not an easy end to the season. They got to finish out with Merrillville after Crown Point. As this kick is up, a long kick. It looks to be a lot of special teams plays today so far here, but tough end of the schedule for Chesterton, to say the least, but they're going to hang in there.
Yeah, beautiful kick for Valpo to respond after giving up a long touchdown to LC. Looks like we could be going back to Chesterton as they're about to kick it away after blocking a punt and scoring a touchdown. A little bit of an update. Wheeler 1st and goal against Griffith, in which there's a lot of fans in the region are looking forward to that game to see how that one is going to play off, as Griffith is trying to go undefeated. But senior night is your last home game. For a lot of these seniors, it has to mean a lot. I never experienced a senior night, and I know you two must have. What is that feeling like going into your final regular season game at home?
Yeah, I mean, kind of from the player perspective, I mean, it's definitely bittersweet. Of course, you got a job at hand. You want to take care of business that night, but it's you have a chance to stop and smell the roses. And yeah, you could have a home playoff game if you get lucky enough, but it truly feels like, again, you got to take it all in. It's the last, and again, it's definitely emotional when you have your parents beside you, or when you, again, whoever, your brothers, your sisters, and again, everybody kind of embraces you. And no matter what, it's a fun night, to say the least.
It's a very fun night, and yeah, having mom and dad out there and the family, and for a lot of the players, they know in the back of their head there that this may be it for their football career. So it does become very special and very meaningful for them. And sometimes you have to try to set those emotions aside to be able to play the football game.
We have a touchdown for Andrean, so they're on the board first. We know that Lowell started with the ball first, and then that's when we lost the camera. But Andrean, it was 2nd and goal, and they just found the end zone. Well, Andrean already doubled their points from last week, and they still won the game.
Again, their defense is playing well, but it's, again, the big game for Andrean. Lowell's trying to play spoiler, but if Andrean gets the win there tonight, they clinch a share of the NCC title. Obviously, after that big win against Hanover Central last week, they now control their fate. And again, Lowell's been playing some good ball as of late, but Andrean strikes first.
So it could be Andrean, Hobart, and Hanover Central that would share it. And for a while there in time, it was just a share. 3 teams sharing the conference championship. So Hanover Central claimed the solo title last year, and now it looks like we could be going back to the same story.
Again, only time will tell. Again, Hobart's got a game at Highland tonight, so they got to take care of business as well. But it's, again, still a lot of football to be played.
That looks like there was an interception. Yeah, an interception for Valpo. That was a great grab. Over the shoulder, falling out of bounds, was able to drag his feet, and Valpo gets a crucial turnover after giving up a touchdown. That's what you guys were talking about with them. Let's watch a replay right here.
Double coverage. Ball thrown a little long. Got the feet in. Held the ball.
You can kind of just throw it up there and double coverage, like you said. I mean, Cam Reddick still a junior quarterback, and we got some. And that will not matter for Valparaiso's sake. Looks like they're going to take over on that turnover.
Score update, Wheeler has also found the end zone. They're up 7-0 on Griffith early. KV's leading Munster 7-0, and Hanover Central up 7-0 on Hammond Central.
We have a late hit and a Griffith penalty.
So this looks to be earlier in that drive. Again, you mentioned Wheeler will eventually find the end zone, but Caleb Klimzak, he's got mobility as well as he can throw it. He's sick. Oh, that's a big hit.
I believe that might be it right there.
Yeah, that's some dirty laundry on the field. I know he's athletic, but him running, he looked like a baby giraffe. Did anyone else see that?
Again, 6'6". He's athletic, though. Again, he could sling it. We've seen it all this year, but he's mobile as well.
Yeah, those strides are twice as long as most people. So
a gazelle.
He may look slow, but he's making up for it with the long strides.
For someone that was born with short legs, I'm jealous. Maybe that's what it is. I just envy Klimjak. Merrillville, they're throwing the ball, and right out of the hands. Had a receiver in the back of the end zone, had to make the adjustment and couldn't haul it in. But Merrillville got down the field fast. So Valpo goes back to work with Thomas Berta. They got an interception. They're down 4. They're in the first quarter. A lot of games getting started here. This is the RSN zone. If you're just joining us, if you're just a big fan of football and just want to see a bunch of games going on, not really one you want to pick, this is the right show to tune into. I'll tell you what. It was really fun doing it a few weeks ago. Good to be back and watching some good quality football with some people that know a lot about region football. Mike Dewan and Steve Pachalski.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. It's been a long season so far, but again, a lot to focus on. Looks like Merrillville's burning that first time out, but yeah, again, we're going to talk about sectional play probably in a little bit. Again, we still got some games to recap tonight. Of course, we're only in the first quarter of these games, but just like that, before you know it, it'll be win or go home.
Going back to that Wheeler Griffith game, how important was it for Wheeler to march down with the opening kickoff? Senior night at Griffith going for an undefeated season and putting the points up on the board first and jumping out to a lead there.
Well, I feel like you got to try and take the crowd out of it early. If it is senior night and your team has walked in 8-0, and this is the most exciting Griffith team they've had in a while.
I mean, yeah, and then again, we've seen the crowds that have gone to Griffith too. We know that's a community that, hey, if things go well, we're going to come out and support you. And again, we saw some clips, I think, even last week, and it's just a packed house. And I'd imagine the same again in the game where it is, again, the winner wins their respective division in the GSSC. I'm sure they're packing the house, and Wheeler throws that first haymaker.
We're back to Merrillville as they're knocking on the door of the end zone, going for a back corner fade, and also incomplete. Merrillville not bringing in some pretty good throws from their quarterback. And I'm not sure what down it is, but we at least know it's third, but it could be fourth. Looks like they could be going for a field goal here.
Yeah, looks like they might be.
And Chesterton, a very solid defense. They got some dudes on that defensive front, especially. Bend but don't break.
I feel like if you're the head coach of Chesterton, you have to sit your defense down and say, hey, we got to rely on you guys more without us having our senior leader at quarterback. And at least Merrillville is going to knock the ball through the uprights and cut that Chesterton lead in half 6-3. So all 9 points in that game have been scored via special teams. We're taking another look at Griffith. And here was the touchdown. Oh, no, it was not the touchdown. That was an incomplete pass. But this was the scoring drive for the Bearcats.
It's like 2nd and 10 now. Goal to go. Inside handoff there. Going to bring up 3rd down. Tried to throw the back shoulder on. Now a loss of 2 there. 3rd and 12. Looks like going to be just short.
So gutsy call on 4th and 11.
Play action. Slant across the middle. That established, again, when you have a team that could play balanced football like the Wheeler Bearcats, that could run the ball as well as throw it opens up plays like that.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was Stacey King that said big-time players make big-time plays, and that's exactly what Wheeler did right there. And it was a perfect ball right there. The receiver created the separation. There's a throwing lane, put it right in the money. And as you said, Steve, it was really important for them to establish that first drive and set really the mood for that game of, hey, we're not afraid of it to spoil an undefeated season.
Right. Well, that's what they're going in there for. And, again, wanted to set themselves up for themselves heading into the sectional.
Oh, get off me! Oh, my goodness, Thomas Berta! Big boy run!
That was
wow.
all him. That was all him.
I mean, someone called that an angry run. He went down with an injury last week. I was very interested to see if he would be back in action, and he made his presence known. Oh, this time around. Oh, no.
No. Illegal formation.
That's what it looks like, yep.
Got a good hold there. Get off me. Get off me. Take you for a ride, but all negated by penalty.
I mean, I know at least Coach Marshall is going to keep showing Thomas Berta absolutely trucking an LC defender in film session next week. Like, hey, guys, this is how you run the football. There's a guy sitting there on his back heels. You just level him over. LC's turn to play a little physical.
Try to come back with the same play, and this time, no go.
Yeah, they gave Berta a breather, it looked like, because that was not Thomas Berta getting the carry. LC's program has been on the up and up, I have felt, in the last couple of years.
Long return for Griffith.
Well, it looks like they may have just wiped off a touchdown in the Andrean game. But Griffith, nice return, just a kicker to beat. He has at least slowed him down.
It's a good answer to the Wheeler scoring play.
Yeah, and
give your offense good field position.
And what I'm seeing in real time is that there's a nice throw. It was not completed though. So that hurts. Valpo had a touchdown with Berta, and instead, after illegal formation, it's 4th and 12, and I know their kicker knocked one through earlier. How far can he kick it? Because right now this would be about a 43-yard kick.
Yeah, the first kick didn't seem like it would have gone 43 yards, but let's see the effort here.
43 yards. I'm not sure what the wind is doing at LC.
A lot more leg into that one.
Wow.
He got it.
Okay.
Special teams today, man. We've seen great kick returns. We've seen great field goal attempts. Valpo gets 2 lengthy field goals to get both their scores on the board.
43-yarder. I'm not sure what the first one was, but it had to be pretty close. So the Valpo Vikings getting 6 points from field goals. We're back at Chesterton. They have their ball on their side on the 25 as they are up 6-3 on number 3 Merrillville. For Andrean, I had saw that they had scored a touchdown, but then a flag must have wiped it off. So it's still 7-7 as Lowell got on the board against the 59ers over in Merrillville. And then looking over here at Griffith, Wheeler's knocking on the door. Actually, no, they scored a touchdown. They're up 13-0 already in the first quarter.
Can we get through there? And how did they get the ball back?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they got the ball back, but Wheeler had it. They marched right down the field, and they found the end zone. So they're up 2 possessions already. You'll see about to return the ball. It looks like another good return from the Indians. But we're at Chesterton, Merrillville, a Duneland Athletic Conference. Merrillville took care of business last week. Chesterton, unfortunately, was on the opposite end of a blowout loss against Crown Point.
LC, good field position again.
Yeah, they just ended the first quarter. Oh, it looks like we might be getting Andrean and Lowell. Could be. Looking at some of the scoreboard updates. Don't forget the track of Vans Hill. Hometown scoreboard is always going. So if we're not mentioning the game that you're looking for, you can always head over there and see the scoreboard updated as we go along this Friday evening. Andrew Mile with Mike Dewan, the sports director, and Steve Pachowski on the RSN Zone. So getting back to action, a couple of the teams getting back on the ball. Chesterton just got a first down. They're on the 41-yard line. Gotta say, I like the all maroon jerseys.
I dig it. I think it's kind of some new digs of them. Different jersey. It usually kind of incorporate a little bit more gold. A rare pass attempt here from Chesterton, and they could do that as well. Again, it's kind of complimentary football, and you could run the ball as well as Chesterton can. You can open up those quick hitters where, again, the linebackers are going to play up and try and stop the run. But the quarterback, again, it makes it easy for those receivers as well for that pitch and catch relationship. Again, another kind of quick hitter there for Chesterton.
Yep. Straight over the middle. Quick pitch and catch, like you said, but enough for a first down. Move the sticks.
I'll tell you one thing. As someone that has grown up in the region, I appreciate a really good defense. And I've heard a lot of things about the Merrillville defense. I have not yet to see them play yet. So I was really excited to hear we're going to get them on the RSN Zone tonight. And that makes them so special. Look how many purple helmets are swarming around the ball after the Chesterton running back got the ball.
I mean, it's kind of a pipeline over there. It is just always a nasty defensive front. And just guys that, again, are so athletic and can either rush the quarterback on the edge or clog up some running lanes inside. Again, they are loaded defensively, and it always seems to be the case with the Pirates.
Yeah, that speed on the outside there, you see 8 or 9 guys on the ball all the time.
You talked to Coach Andrews from Dayton. His dad was Jim Andrews, a head coach at Northwoods, I believe, in Napanee. And one word he kept using is explosiveness. And I feel like that's one thing that you guys are trying to allude to, is that Merrillville has explosiveness all over the place when it comes to their defense. And they're a physical group. I always remember that watching them play, even growing up, is that they want to wear you down mentally and physically by the end of the night. And I feel like Chesterton, they're going to have to show just how mentally tough they are if they're going to survive 4 quarters of running the ball about 80 to 85% of the time. Back over to LC, starting their drive against the Vikings. It is 2nd and 22, so I wonder if there was a holding penalty there. Which they had 2nd in a semi-truck? Andrean 7-7. It's our other game going on here in RSN Zone. LC going to air it out, and they completed it. We've seen the tale of 2 passes. We saw the beautiful one that led to a long touchdown, and then LC's last drive, there was an interception, and that was a beautiful ball right on the chest, about 6 inches off, where the receiver could bring it in and run it for a couple more yards.
Those are the types of throws, build that confidence up in the quarterback, stood in the pocket there, zipped it out there, and got it to him in stride.
With Chesterton, they're trying to throw the ball, but there's a Merrillville Pirates bringing it down the quarterback for a sack. Even their D-line, man, I mean, they're big physical guys, but they're
quick.
They're quick laterally.
Yep.
They know how to get there, and once the quarterback for Chesterton decided he was going to bail, there was a Merrillville Pirate already wrapping him around the waist and bringing him down for the sack.
Griffith scoring drive.
We're going to take another look. We mentioned that Wheeler scored a touchdown, and it looks like this is the big play that must have set him up. It was a post route over the middle on a cover 2, and that paid off. That was about 40 to 50 yards. Wheeler, that's what they've been doing all year, relying on the pass game.
Looks like every other game.
And they went right back to the play that scored them their first touchdown, and it looks like it's scored them their second touchdown. Play action over the middle, and then throwing it to a slant route, and 13-0 for Wheeler, and then here's their extra point, and it just got inside the right upright. 14-0 Wheeler. Now, I know I'm watching Clem Shack a little bit more. It kind of reminds me of Johnny Unitas a little bit. Maybe it's the height and the way he delivers the ball.
Wow.
Kind of looks like Johnny U to me.
We're going way back.
Going way back. That's Baltimore Colts era. The LC's going to punt on a 4th and 11. So right now we got 2 DAC games going on, and then Andrean hopefully getting that one back very soon as LC punts it away for the first time, and Valpo's going to start at their own 35. I would say that's a decent punt. Make Valpo go a good way to try and score their first touchdown. Both times they've scored were from field goals. So Merrillville should have the ball right now. They have 2 really good running backs that both have racked over 700 yards, over 10 touchdowns. And I feel like if you get we're back to that. Johnson and Jordan, both over 700 yards. Both have double-digit touchdowns. They've combined for 21, and Drain just got on the board again. They're up 14-7. When you have 2 explosive running backs like Merrillville does, that also has to wear out a defense, not knowing how they're going to play those 2 backs.
It's it's tough. They are a tough squad, but again, see Lake Central, they got some, again, defensive pieces. Again, running the football is obviously, I still think there's a lot of great passing teams here in the region, but I think running the ball effectively is still kind of king. But right now, Lake Central doing a pretty good job against Valparaiso. And same kind of can be said with our other game we're seeing on Reagan's Corner Sports Network.
Well, not that you would know it from the weather that we've been having, but you do have to be prepared for those cold, rainy, snowy, even snowy nights. You got to be able to run the ball as well as throw it.
Looks like Valpo could be thrown in here, kind of spreading out the LC defense, but a flag just flew in. Man. I would describe this as a very sloppy start for Valpo. Usually a well-coached team, but right now they're making a lot of mistakes. It must have been a Merrillville turnover because Chesterton has the ball right back, and they're starting on the Pirates side of things.
Going back to Valpo, though, we've seen this before again. A little bit more sloppy starts. We kind of saw it last week then against Portage, down 10-0. Now, again, it's great to respond and how they did, but this play, it's tough to say if it's sustainable or not.
Well, they're still trying to feed Bera, and Bera is going down immediately. I mean, LC, they're getting into the backfield quick. Bera, once he tries to cut up field, there's already about 3 or 4 blue helmets and some, would you say that's charcoal jerseys or just gray, silver? I'm not sure, but I like them. You say pewter?
Pewter. It's the designer in me.
Turnover on downs play.
Looks to be a 4th and goal then for Griffith and trying to make something out of nothing.
Wow.
Wheeler. 14-0 early.
Don't tell me this is going to be a blowout of a game. Valpo laying it out there, and Hosek's throwing it even close. Again, LC's defense looking pretty good to get things started. About halfway through the second.
When you can put a team in predictable downs and distances, it makes the defense. You can set your defense to it. So if you put it behind the sticks and get them in those 3rd and longs, you pretty much have to expect that they're going to be throwing the ball.
Just saw a big play in Merrillville, Chesterton. Merrillville got the ball back, and they raced across the 50 to the 45. And did I get blocked?
They got a partially. I mean, special teams tonight. I don't know what is in the water for Week 9, but it is special teams here tonight. I think a partially blocked punt now over there for Lake Central. They're going to start in plus territory.
You guys have watched a lot of football. How many times have you seen a team win a close game just because their special teams were making the effort plays by blocking punts, blocking kicks, or even, of course, making field goals at the end?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, again, it's a third of the game, and it often goes overlooked. You talk about offenses and defenses, but this is a third of the football game, and, again, with games that are going to be this close, especially come playoff time, you need these plays to go your way.
And these are the types of games that you don't expect to see penalty-filled games and mistake-filled games in Game 9. You would hope that all of those things are in the rearview mirror, so looks like these teams have a lot of things to clean up.
Handoff up the middle, and that's a good run, keeping the legs churning, letting your big man push you a couple more yards. Or Merrillville's across the 40-yard line to the Chesterton 39. Merrillville, they're still looking for their first touchdown of this afternoon's game.
Back and forth so far. It looks to be, I'm reading the sticks, might be 3rd down now. And again, Merrillville, we know they could run the football very well. Quarterback's been playing better as of late as well. Merrillville hoping to, again, maybe potentially clinch a share of that Dillman title. They need some help from everybody over there at Michigan City, but still playing great ball.
Michigan City's a scrappy team. He's got a man wide open in the flat. And they're now across the 30 and close to the red zone. And Griffith just had a nice play. They got across their own 40.
That's the thing about Griffith. Again, they might be down by 14, but they're going to respond quick. And their offense is not a methodical, again, get a couple running plays, churn for a couple few yards. They could hit you quick, and this game is far from over.
Yeah, as long as you're not shook, there's plenty of time left to right the ship here, so no reason to panic. Get back and do what you do best.
Big Wheeler game.
So we're taking another peek at Wheeler. Another shout out to Thomas Marsh, who was there. And look at this throw. Oh, dime piece. That is beautiful. Over the top. Klimchak, he's having himself a heck of a day. Here we go, some dual box action. Getting a sack for the Valpo Vikings on 3rd and 13, so it looks like LC is going to be punting. Meanwhile, Merrillville is knocking on the door of taking their first lead of the game against Chesterton after Chesterton scored their touchdown on a blocked punt. I love this. This is beautiful. This is what every high school fan looks for when they turn into the RSN zone, the dual box.
Love it too, especially when one of the teams are in the red zone, and now Lake Central trying to make a big play up here, 3rd and 22, but definitely a good time for the duo box.
Shout out to Justin for us to be able to watch 2 games at once, and LC's burning a timeout. Meanwhile, Merrillville, I think they just got called for an illegal substitution. Oh, no more dual box. back to singular box.
Again, we've seen, maybe Steve, you could harp on this, but again, the final third of the season, the final game of the season, one of the things is, unforced errors, you kind of want that now, and I feel like tonight in the games we've been monitoring, we've seen a decent amount of flags, a decent amount of laundry on the field, and that's obviously from coach's perspective, not what you want to see in Week 9.
Definitely not, and you have to wonder if some of these teams are looking forward. They've just kind of said, well, let's play this game out, and let's get ready for the playoffs, since maybe some of these teams, these games don't have any conference ramifications for them. So maybe they're getting caught looking ahead here and playing the game a little sloppy.
So there was a sack for Chesterton, but I saw a flag from the far sideline. So we'll keep an eye on that, because I believe it was 3rd down. That would make it 4th down, but if this is a defensive holding, it would be an automatic 1st down, and it looks like Chesterton's getting backed up. High pass there for LC. Again, that's what something you said, Steve. You want to pin that offense back and force them to throw with a great distance to go, and right there it looked like it was just easy enough. Just drop back about 8 DBs and say, hey, try to beat 8 of us with 3 guys rushing you, and that paid off for Valpo. They're still trying to get their offense going. So Merrillville did get the call, and they're going to make Chesterton pay for the sloppy defense as they find the end zone for the first time and take their first lead over at Chesterton.
I believe that was I believe that was Cameron Jordan, I should say. Sophomore running back. When you got a sophomore in the backfield and then J.Q. Johnson, a junior, it is thunder and lightning back there. Again, they haven't really thrown the ball much. Again, a nice penalty to kind of get that 1st and 10, 1st and goal, I should say. Then once you do that, again, you got to make that team pay. Merrillville did just that.
Like Montgomery and Gibbs over in Detroit?
A little bit. That's definitely a fair comparison, I'd say. Merrillville, again, just an absolute, a super long line of talented running backs to just do it at the next level.
Up on 3rd down and a missed field goal.
3rd down, and every time we get a highlight from Griffith, it's always Wheeler with the football. They just came up with a big completion downfield. They're going for the end zone on this pass, and they got denied. Really good defense by the Panthers, who are looking to stand tall and finish their first perfect regular season since 1997. Field goal attempt, and that was no good. So opening the door for a potential Griffith comeback. I want to update you guys on something. The Panthers found the end zone. It's 14-7.
Wow. Again, they hit you quick. That's it. Again, they don't go away anytime soon.
Well, we saw that even earlier on in the year against River Forest. It was kind of shocking to see where that game was going. And then Griffith turned it on, and they ended up walking away with the win to keep their perfect season alive. Just about midway through the year. But it has to be something that Coach is looking forward to, is his team showing how resilient they are and trying to earn that 9-0 season.
Well, I think something you saw in that River Forest game was exactly what Wheeler's strength is. River Forest was able to hang and tie that game up late by going to the air. And in watching Wheeler throughout the year, if they look like they have a one-on-one matchup, they're going to put the ball up. He trusts Caleb trusts his receivers deep in a one-on-one matchup, and they will throw and throw and throw that ball every time.
Which is, again, very unique, as we were talking about in this part of the state. I feel like a lot of teams are, hey, we got to establish the run game. Wheeler went the opposite way and said, hey, we want to see if the DBs in this part of the state can hold up the pass game. And so far, I haven't seen too many defenses that be able to keep up with Wheeler's air game, their air raid sort of offense.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it yesterday on Region Football Weekly, and these are two teams that, again, Griffith and Wheeler both have 1,000-yard passers, and we've seen, again, kind of the establishment of this passing game more and more in kind of today's age, and it's becoming a big staple of these offenses. Again, gone are kind of the days of you're going to carry the ball 40 times a game, and we still kind of see that with some of those run-heavy teams. But now we're seeing, again, the Caleb Klimzaks and the Ryan Bouillons, like of Griffith, that are doing their thing in the pocket, and, again, opening up a passing game, which then, again, it allows for kind of that rushing game to also be effective.
Do you think that's what's separating the great teams in this part of the state from the good teams?
I'd say it sure helps. I mean, you look at some of those maybe top quarterback, even recruits from the state of Indiana. We're kind of saying we know the success of the schools down south, specifically in Circle City, and a lot of those, again, next-level recruits. Again, obviously, you got some film to put out there because you're throwing the football, and obviously coaches are taking notice. You see, like Crown Point, how they're doing well. Noah Ehrlich, when you have a guy like that under center, he's efficient and usually one half of play, and as well as, again, a couple other teams that are, again, they have to also have a run game as well, though, because you could still be one-dimensional throwing the football, and that is just as, again, being the same way as a one-dimensional run-heavy team.
Exactly. And one sets up the other, depending upon if you trust the quarterback to throw the ball more, or you trust a running back like Valpo has. You're going to go to your big dog, your big horse, so to speak, when the chips are down. But you have to be able to spread that ball around.
Well, Valpo, they just handed it off to Julian Stokes, who has been described as the Energizer Bunny for this team this year. There have been times where they felt very stagnant, that things really weren't going their way. Against Andrean, they were down 14-0. What did he do? Returned a kick and got them right back into it. I believe actually it was 21-0.
It was 21-0.
It was 21-0, got them back in it. And then there's a little speed option. But again, Thomas Berta, nowhere to go. Elsie's been all over him tonight. But Ivan did a game where they were going up against LaPorte. And again, their offense was stagnant like this. Handed to him one time on a counter when he was in motion, and he took it down to the one. Berta finished it off, and Valpo never looked back. So it's always good to have that one guy on your team where it's like, hey, we need someone to get us started. And for them, it's been Stokes this year.
Yeah, I mean, Valpo, we kind of talk about them, looking at them at seasons past. I mean, even that state championship team, I mean, they were run heavy. They had a mobile quarterback. They had a great rushing attack. And now we kind of see Kellen Hosick, as we see here, as that pass gets incomplete. But Hosick could throw the football, and we've seen that a lot more from him. We saw a lot of work with his legs last week against Portage. He had 4 total touchdowns, but he could throw the football as well, and that adds a little bit to this Valparaiso offense that they could score points. I think the big question mark so far is kind of, can that defense keep us in it for 4 quarters?
And
Hosick ran for 100 yards last week.
Something with 200-plus total yards of offense for him.
And stay away from the mistakes.
That too.
With 3rd and 13, and it might be up to the shoulder of Hosick to keep this drive alive. They're going to roll him out. He's looking, and he's going to sack from behind. Ball on the ground. LC's got it.
I don't know.
Steve, I think they have to blame that on you because you said they'll make the mistakes, get sacked from the blind side, cough up the football, and the Indians could be leaving the first half with a lead.
Could be a tuck rule there. Who knows? I don't.
Hey, Tom Brady did just purchase the Raiders, which, coincidentally enough.
Talk about a full circle moment.
We're discussing that.
For those who aren't familiar with why that's a coincidence, the tuck rule was the Raiders against the New England Patriots.
Looks like that Valpo offense is coming back out onto the field, so the tuck rule comes into play.
I think it was the punt team actually coming out on the field.
Yes. 4th and 13 now. Andrean scores right before half now.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to nail their extra point. Can't believe how many kickers still struggle with the extra point in this part of the state. It's not a gimme.
Well, if we didn't remark on it because you had said when Chesterton missed the extra point, if that was going to play into something down the road, but Merrillville wound up missing their extra point
Right.
on their touchdown.
Followed suit.
Griffith scoring drive.
So here's the Griffith scoring drive. This is the run I saw. Look at the hit here on the outside.
Ooh.
Gotta love wide receivers that like contact.
Again, Griffith, they could go down, but they could score quick. Again, they could move the ball, and they could throw the football well, got a wide open man, and just like that, again, cuts that lead right in half.
Calm, good poise in the pocket, put a right on the money, and Griffith in the end zone. And here's the extra point that would cut the Wheeler lead right in half at 14-7.
Gone are the days of the wishbone, huh? You don't. Again, they throw it a lot. Wheeler's one of those teams. Again, they could throw the football very, very well. Again, only a sophomore at quarterback, and Ryan Bouillon also has some relatively young skill positions he's throwing to.
Yeah, how about that? You got 2 more years of your starting quarterback.
Not bad.
As a former defensive coordinator at Andrean, I still have nightmares about trying to stop that wishbone of Griffith.
Yeah, that's again not fun for players or coaches. Not a deception. That
I wondered why you started getting a cold sweat over there, Steve.
I've never seen a team run it better than that Griffith team that we faced in 2004. It was just if you watch the sectional game and listen to the announcers. In fact, Chris Mears was one of the announcers on that. Even they were questioning who was scoring and who was carrying the ball.
Well, LC looks like they're running not Wishbone, but the Wildcat. Going back to the days of Ricky Williams down in Miami.
There you go. Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about that game, Steve, about 20-year anniversary coming up here very shortly. I think we got some things in the works there to kind of cover that game. But one of the better, from what I've heard, the best game kind of here in Northwest Indiana, that 04 Andrean and Griffith game, which basically, I mean, 2 great teams, obviously, going neck and neck at the Boneyard.
It was something to remember, and like you said, people still refer to it as the greatest game ever played in Northwest Indiana, and I'm not going to argue with it. At least coming out on top in that game, I'm all for that.
I think Andrean did miss their extra point. I think we were. So what now? 20-7 now in favor of the Niners.
Yeah, and I'm watching this track in Van Til, hometown scoreboard. Haven't seen too many scoring changes there. Just kind of curious to see what was going on with some of the other DAC games going on, and maybe even Hobart and Highland, especially with the Northwest Crossroads Conference title on the line tonight. Could be a share of 3 different teams.
I mean, that's bittersweet to say, again, for any side. Again, especially, I think, for Hanover. Now, Andrean, obviously, punching themselves back into the chat, again, with that big win against Hanover Central last week. They put yourself back in the mix. But then you look at a team like Hanover Central, that, again, a win like that, a win last week, they have that one. And, again, of course, it's nice to win conference titles, but maybe not sharing it with 2 or 3 other schools.
Right. Well, that's where coach speak comes into play. Go ahead.
I think incompletion.
Yeah, incomplete. It looked like he had it for a moment, but then it rolled out the back of the end zone. But Merrillville, with about 90 seconds to go, let that ball rip, going for the 6 points, but instead trying to see what down it is. But Merrillville's offense still out on the field. They're look like maybe a yard behind the sticks.
Trying to get a couple chunk plays. Again, field goals have been tough, at least maybe in this game. We know they could run the football. Not much going there. Chesterton, again, a great defense. Owen Edlin kind of highlights that defensive front. He's going to be playing some ball at the next level. But right now we've seen a couple good Duneland games here on the of course, one on the Region Sports Network, one on Reagan's Corner Sports Network.
A shout out to Reagan to providing this feed out in Chesterton this evening.
Merrillville's kind of in that nowhere land there where you're too close to punt the ball, so this could be 4-down territory here.
And the receiver in motion, going deep again, and
that
this time they hooked up.
That makes it academic.
The gray area, as you call it. But, yeah, again, when you can throw the ball like that down the field, which is something that's working a lot more for this Merrillville team now. We know they could run the football. But, again, when you got a quarterback that could spin it and find a receiver, which they got a lot of talented receivers over there, now sets up a first and goal there for the Pirates.
Steve, I want to ask you, with you being a DC, how's the offenses changed in the region? What have you seen from these last 20 years? I know you said you were with the 59ers in 04.
You do see a lot more passing. Where before, even more so than Griffith, you saw a lot of option teams a few years back, but you see passing now. That's what the kids want to do, and that's what the younger coaches here have been brought up on, and so that's what they're spoon feeding their kids now. So yeah, a lot more passing.
Merrillville got a touchdown, and they're up 10 points. Who was the best quarterback you ever went up against in terms of passing?
The best quarterback I ever went up against? My problem is I'm horrible with names. I could remember numbers and things like that from looking at film. Let me think on that one for a second. I don't want to shortchange anybody.
Sure, we got a whole other half to think
we got
about that, right?
a long way to go.
But you had a good one on your sidelines, at least for that Andrean. Griffith came back in 04, right?
The best high school football player I have ever seen, ever coached, Tommy Finn.
A name that,
I believe that's him hanging over your left shoulder.
He's on a couple posters here at the Region Sports Network,
4th and 26.
Right. I mean, again, 20 years of that game coming up. It's cool to kind of see that. Again, obviously, you mentioned Chris was on the call for one of those games, our executive producer, Chris Ramirez, and kind of seeing that game. Again, I was 3 during the time of that game, so, I didn't really know much about that.
You're aging
at
now.
first. But it's cool to, again, obviously, 2 talented teams with a lot of talented players. And I had a great game script, to say the absolute least.
And another thing that you're talking about changes. And I think teams kind of do it now, but you talked about Tommy Finn basically being the franchise, being the quarterback for us. He also played safety, started safety, and was in on a lot of hits there. So it was one of those things where it becomes all hands on deck. So you have your all-state Mr. Football quarterback out there playing defense as well.
Just an athlete. And again, we kind of see a little bit more at the lower levels, I think. Obviously, you want to protect your quarterback now at these upper levels with these bigger schools that have, again, when they could put somebody in those defensive roles. But we see, again, we've covered a decent amount of smaller school football, and especially at the GSSC, like a player that sticks out to me, Aiden Silver of River Forest, somebody who plays both ways, and same could be said with a couple other schools kind of in that smaller class size.
Valpo has the ball back with 17 seconds to go. And I'm curious to see just how aggressive they're going to be. Haven't had a whole lot of running space for Thomas Bera, and Hosek hasn't completed a whole lot of passes. He's trying to find somewhere to go. He's going to go down to his safety valve, and you got to wonder if Coach Bill Marshall is going to let this clock run out on the first half, and that's indeed what he's going to do. Certainly a frustrating first half for Valpo, making some mistakes. They had a touchdown from Thomas Bera that was wiped off due to an illegal formation. LC scored on their first drive, and they're carrying that 1-point lead into the locker rooms. And we're going to go back to Chesterton and Merrillville and see the conclusion of this first half before we take a quick break here on RSN Zone. Here's everyone that is on the 4th episode of the RSN Zone. Andrew Mile, Mike Dewan, and Steve Pachalski. Not featured is Justin Cole, who's pushing all the buttons right now.
Doing the tough work. But we see now we got some more highlights coming in, I think.
Hold on.
Well, maybe not. Just trying to get you excited, Mike.
Yeah, I'm always excited covering football now. Come on.
Mike wakes up. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, Mike wakes up and this is his attire. He's all ready to go for football.
I don't have much outside of this. Yeah,
you got football tucked in under your right
sir.
arm.
Yes, sir.
Loves Friday nights.
We all do here.
Yeah, looking at the Stratton Van Til hometown scoreboard. Now we're back at Chesterton, about 39 seconds. And Chesterton's at midfield, seeing if they could try to get back into this game. They're down 10 points at the moment. They went up 6-0, so Merrillville has scored 16 unanswered points. Andrean and Lowell had just gone into halftime. Andrean up 20-7. They have scored 13 unanswered points. That game was even for just a moment in time.
Merrillville, they got that big playability as well. They, again, Chesterton, again, we saw this. Steve and I saw this at Lake Central a few weeks ago. But, again, it's tough to be down in this type of offense where, again, passing is not easy to do, especially against this Merrillville front and, of course, that defensive backfield.
We see even right there from the quarterback that his mental clock was going off. Like, hey, I don't have as much time, and just took off and got a minimal gain, but at least it was a gain.
Wheeler touchdown.
It was 14-7, Wheeler leading. They hand it off, and they're going to punch it back into the end zone one more time. And they're up 21-7, and Wheeler has the ball at about the 49-yard line of Griffith with a minute to go and 3rd and 10.
Big extra point, good.
That might be the only game. Okay, I'm sorry. That caught my eye. Is that Cartman on the sidelines of Merrillville and
Yes,
Chesterton?
Interesting. Looks like switched up mascots, I guess, for this game. Did the Chesterton?
I think Cartman's upset that this isn't a Denver Broncos game.
Yeah, he's at the wrong spot to say the least.
That was last night.
Respect my authority.
Did you ever use that, Coach, when a player wasn't listening?
Well, that's a first.
Yeah, of course, that game was not as exciting. The Broncos and Saints last night.
Goodness.
It was all Denver. Broncos country, let's ride.
I guess so.
Got Trojans, Pirates here. And about 13 seconds. Yeah, I wonder if Chesterton's just going to go for a Hail Mary here. They're going for a pass to the outside, complete it, got out of bounds. You got to like that call there.
Yeah, again, kind of a rare passing attempts I see from Chesterton. Again, whenever we're kind of covering, again, this team so far, it's been, we're just calling Goviz's number. Obviously, in a situation like this, you got to try and get some chunk plays. But now, again, it might be Hail Mary time.
Well, either that or they're wondering what kind of leg their field goal kicker has. If they can get another little chunk like that, it might be within his field goal range.
I guess we should wait and find out. Ball looks to be at the 33, so, hey, you might need a couple more yards. You got to get out of bounds, though, first and foremost.
Yeah, about 10 seconds? Maybe. Yep, just got past 10. Got to get rid of it. And threw a pick! Oh, man. That's tough. Did everything he could to stay alive, tried to force a pass, and the Merrillville Pirates were up 10. Looked like they're going to hit the halftime locker room with a crucial turnover with about 2 seconds, so there's a good chance they may just run it here, see if they can get anything to break with one of their explosive backs, and if not, they're still up 10 points against a struggling Chesterton offense and go right into the halftime locker room up by double digits. And it looks like it's just going to be a knee and get out of there. So Merrillville gets an interception to conclude that first half. And
You talked about changes. That's another change there. You're going to do a kneel down play, and they're in shotgun formation.
yeah,
That's
who goes under center anymore?
kind of bewilders me.
It's so not cool
must
anymore.
Not be so used to not taking a direct snap from center.
Sometimes it pains me though, just how little teams don't go under center. It could be like 4th and 1.
Right.
They go, hey, pistol formation.
Now you got shotgun runs, right? Unless
Yeah.
down in distance, hey, we're going to snap it the ball a couple yards back to try and get 1 yard. We can go I formation or
Right,
whatever.
right.
It's a different game nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe just go for the wishbone.
Yeah, who knows? Hey, who knows?
But exciting first half for a lot of the games that we have had here on the RSN zone. Guys, but any final thoughts before we take a quick break here and get ready for the second half?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of, closer games. And again, this is you got to eliminate penalties. I think a lot of the trend with these teams that we've seen, it's, again, a little bit of sloppy football, whether that's turnovers, whether that's maybe mental lapses on the special team side of things. You got to play a better brand of football because these games have been very, very close so far.
I'm sure that's being addressed at halftime of some of these games, and I am really looking forward to that second half of the Wheeler-Griffith game, see where that goes, see if Griffith can answer. They're kind of behind the 8 ball now.
Yeah, down 14 points. They're getting really close to ending their first half. Let's take a quick break here on the RSN Zone as you're watching the Region Sports Network, the only game in town. Don't go anywhere.
When life keeps you busy and you can't get to the store, shop online with Strachan Van Til To Go. Our to-go service is easy to use. Register using your rewards account information, fill your virtual cart, and choose delivery or pickup. Once your order is in, our own Strachan Van Til team preps your order with care. With our to-go service, you can earn reward points and save time and money with our online coupons and weekly ad prices. Life made simple, shopping made easy. For more information or to sign up, visit shop.strachanvantil.com.
Hi, I'm Crowd Company's Lantern Man. For years, I've helped your family and friends save on their car insurance. And now I've returned to rescue you from high prices. Whether you have a perfect driving record or a not-so-perfect record. Follow me to the Crowd Agency for immediate and affordable coverage. I'm your insurance superhero. Crowd Company's insurance professionals. Highland, Merrillville, and Michigan City.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Old Man Winter is just around the corner, and that means temperatures will soon begin to drop. And a region winter is not the time to be left out in the cold. The professionals at Economy Electric Heating and Cooling can tune up that old furnace or install a new unit that can last for years. Your family deserves to stay comfortable this winter, and with 24/7 emergency service, comfort is just a phone call away. Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, 219-923-4441. Or for more info, the website is forajobdoneright.com.
Tech Checking Plus from Tech Credit Union offers everything you'd expect from a checking account. Plus, you'll earn one of their best dividend rates for maintaining a higher account balance. Currently, 4.85% annual percentage yield. No need to choose between easy access to funds or earning a better dividend. Tech Checking Plus gives you both. Visit techcu.org, contact any branch, or call 800-276-8324 to learn more. Tech Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. Rates may change without notice.
Quintel Incorporated is a family-owned and operated company located in Northwest Indiana that specializes in the reconditioning, repair, and remanufacturing of heat exchangers. Since 1994, Quintel has been handling jobs of all sizes throughout the country. Equipped with the most modern technology and advanced tools, Quintel provides top-notch service. When you trust Quintel for all your needs, you'll get peace of mind and a finished job that exceeds your expectations. For more info about Quintel and the services they provide, visit quintel-inc.com.
If you work with industrial, pneumatics, or hydraulics, and you're in need of maintenance or repair, you need the right connection. For over 20 years, Hose Connections in Hammond has been the premier leader in the hydraulics industry. Hose Connections is a one-stop shop for sales and service of pneumatics and hydraulics. Hose Connections continues to grow their network of industry contacts, which allows them to meet even your toughest expectations. To learn more, visit HoseConnectionsInc.com. Hose Connections in Hammond. Proven under pressure.
This is the RSN Zone. My name is Andrean with Mike DeWan and Steve Pachowski. As this is the Host Connections halftime show connecting the first half and the second half. We have 3 games that are currently at the half. Andrean and Lowell with the 59ers leading by 13. LC and Valpo 1-point game there. And the Valpo Vikings trailing against LC to close out their first half. The Indians looking pretty good.
They got to play 4 quarters. I mean, that's the way football works. And, hey, again, a great start for Lake Central. Obviously struck first on I want to say, about a 50-plus yard touchdown to Trevor Kubacki on a pitch and catch from Cam Reddick. But Valparaiso, again, another slow start. They're not the fastest of starters. Still got a ways to go, but LC so far playing some better football, doing some great job, especially against that Valparaiso rushing attack.
Valpo's been their own worst enemy in that first half with the penalties and the mistakes, and they clean that up. We'll see if they can turn things around in the second half.
And then Chesterton and Merrillville, they're at the half. Look like they have the band out on the field. Merrillville's up 16-6 after they went down 6-0 early. You have to be really happy if you're the head coach of Merrillville by the way your team responded after a blocked punt turned into 6 points for the home team.
Again, Merrillville, that they're scoring points. And again, of course, another special teams play that we talked about just about all night that has kind of shifted some of these games. But again, they got punched in the mouth early against probably a pretty packed Chesterton house that's, again, putting up a pretty good football team. Merrillville, again, they could start to get some big plays. That offense is really playing well, and they got some solidarity finally at the quarterback position because we know they could run the football.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Chesterton does in the second half. The game that we saw them 2 weeks ago, they were down a couple scores early in that third quarter, and those situations, a lot of times you think people start throwing the ball, but they did just the opposite and went to the ground game.
Right.
Basically ran the same play over and over and scored the 2 touchdowns and pulled the game out. So let's see if they go back to their bread and butter as long as they can stay ahead of the sticks.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, to give you a backstory, again, he and I were at the Chesterton Lake Central game, and they were down. I mean, LC scored again in the second half. They got things rolling early. Again, they were up by 13 points, and Chesterton, they ran Wildcat just about, I think, every play for that entire second half. Andrew Govea carried the ball. I mean, I don't know how many times. He had about 40 carries on the night. And it was like Chesterton was winning in the game, it felt like. But no, obviously, they're comfortable with doing that. And again, this is a tough Merrillville defense. It might be apples to oranges. But still, I mean, they don't care. I mean, they could still run the football, and then they know what they're good at. But, I mean, who knows? We may need to see a sense of urgency. This is a different Merrillville team from maybe that LC Tribe defense.
Well, we're looking at this Dragon Van Til hometown scoreboard. Saw Crown Point up only 14-0 on Michigan City. So that's a bit of a shocker that Michigan City is hanging around with Crown Point. Usually for Crown Point, they hit the halftime locker rooms and their starters are taking off their shoulder pads.
Hey, it's about time they could play the second half potentially. Michigan City, a team that, again, I think is very, very talented. Offense is a little bit inexperienced, but they have some very talented pieces on the outside that they throw the football a lot too. They got a 1,000-yard plus passer in Triniston Hart over there, and they got a pretty decent run game and a Big 12 pass rusher in Adrian Holly. Crown Point, obviously 14-0. They still have the lead, maybe not up to their standards, but hey, it could be a good test for Crown Point going into 6A sectional.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to see film of that game. Having coached under Coach Buzia, he's not against putting things on film that maybe teams haven't seen all year, and letting them think about different things, and maybe trying a few players just to see how they react, see if they can go down in their roster a little deeper. So. Maybe that's what's going on over there. I'm not sure.
I believe they open up against Portage.
Yes.
I believe Crown Point does, and then City's in that big Duneland-filled sectional with Valparaiso, LaPorte, and Chesterton. I believe City, they play Chesterton as well coming up soon too.
Again, don't forget Michigan City shut out Chesterton 20-0, even with Chesterton having their starting quarterback.
Right. I mean, City's one of 2 wins. Is a great Chesterton team. Again, you mentioned had Brady McCormick still their starting quarterback who went down with injury mid throughout the year. But again, Michigan City, I still think they're definitely no slouch. A good test for Crown Point. Ames Field, not a fun place to play.
No.
Boone Grove up 35-0 on Bishop Knoll. That's a blowout. Looks like they could be going to halftime very soon. Saw that Knox was taking it to Bowman. It looks like we could be having a... Oh, here we go. I haven't got an update on that one yet.
We have the last play of the half between Griffith and...
Oh, so some bonus content. The last play of the half for Griffith and Wheeler, just a run up the middle, and that was an important score that we wanted to get to. The Bearcats trying to spoil a perfect season for Griffith, up 21-7. They went 14-0 early for a big hookup on a pass that set up Griffith for a touchdown, and looks like it could be a really thrilling second half. You might want to buckle up over at Griffith.
Definitely two high-scoring offenses. Talking about Wheeler, Steve, you mentioned you were at Wheeler a few seasons ago, and you kind of thinking into this year, you kind of set off the air, but this is a team you kind of felt they'd be pretty solid going into this year, and Griffith as well. Again, a team that was very, very young last year, but you kind of saw these Bearcats kind of grow up, and obviously a 21-7 lead against an undefeated Griffith at the Boneyard. That could cap off a pretty good regular season for the Bearcats.
Like you said, seeing these young men grow into the football team that they are now, I kind of had it in my head that that's what was going to happen, and not really surprised at the success they're having. They're going to open up against Boone Grove in their sectional, so right off the bat, going from Griffith to another rivalry game, and Boone Grove having a pretty good season themselves. So this is a nice way for Wheeler to get themselves moving into the sectional.
Hobart 42-0 on Highland. It has been a rough end of the year for the Highland Trojans. Portage up 14-0 on LaPorte. Again, LaPorte's offense, not really much to talk about there. Whiting getting blown out at home against LaVille. The Lancers coming in, scoring 42 points at halftime. Of course, we have that score, Andrean 20, Lowell 7. And then there's the reset of this Dragon Van Til hometown scoreboard. So some blowout games, some really close games, something that we're accustomed to on Friday nights. No sort of report for New Prairie and South Bend, Washington. North Judson taking it to Pioneer 24-6. I believe it was Chris Ramirez that told me that North Judson's a really good football team.
We all kind of said it last week. I mean, I was with here in the RSNZONE with Doug Ashenbaugh and Doug Nelson, and they're saying by stock now they're 8-0. Again, they're in the Class 1A. I was looking at the John Harrell kind of like statistics and kind of percentages a team can go this far in the playoffs, and for the 1A class, North Judson is those percentages are high. There are a lot of expectations for the Blue Jays. Yeah,
a lot of people are saying that we can we claim them as a region team? I'm not sure, but they're saying they're one of those teams that very good chance to get down to Indianapolis.
No doubt about it.
River Forest is up 48-6 on Lake Station. That's a tough go. And this is a shout out to Justin. Calumet is leading against Gary Westside 22-14. Last time I was here, Calumet got blown out. So I just wanted to shout out to Justin, a proud graduate and a proud warrior. Hanover Central up only 14 on Hammond Central. But Hammond Central, they're a scrappy team. They have some really good athletes. Their running back has been one of the best running backs we've seen in the region this year.
Yeah, Davian Terry. I think he's second in the area in rushing yards, so not a bad player to have in your backfield. But yeah, Hanover Central, a game that hopefully could be a bounce back. Only up 14 points now, hoping to kind of blow that open in the second half. But Hammond Central, a tough place to play. Some new digs over there, and they're not going to try and let that happen.
Going back, you mentioned River Forest up big, and next week they are going to face an old friend of the region, Knox, with Russ Radke. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes as far as River Forest opening up their sectional play.
That 3A sectional is fun. Again, Griffith's in there as well. There's a lot of fun sectionals. Again, of course, 1 through 4A starts next week, and we mentioned a little bit of 1A with North Judson. We'll probably talk about the sectionals moving forward, but 4A especially, to Hanover now moving up. That's going to be a team to look out for. New Prairie as well, Hobart. There could be 4 or 5 winners potentially in that sectional, and all starts next week.
I'm getting a little distracted on whoever's on camera at the LC Valpo game because we're getting a really good look at the moon. There you go. Fly me to the moon.
Good old Scott Stessel there with a man behind the lens there. Yeah, I haven't seen the moon tonight. There we go. Now we're here.
Yeah, full moon tonight to close out the 2024 regular season. And it could be getting football back there, LC and Valpo, as they put on 12 minutes on the clock. And I believe Valpo's going to start with the football because LC scored on their first drive, and that was it. So we've watched Valpo for that first half, watched them really closely. What can they do in the second half to make sure that they can get a win? Outside of not making the mistakes and playing sloppy.
Right. I mean, that was definitely kind of square one, but I haven't really seen much more of that production we kind of saw last week from the quarterback, Kellen Hosick. We've seen a lot of Thomas Bera, and they had a touchdown taken away from a couple penalties from those mistakes. But Kellen Hosick now, you might want to try and use his athleticism a little bit more as well, in addition to Thomas Bera, get him outside the pocket, or, hey, maybe even just let him run designed runs, and also, again, of course, let him do it with his arm as well.
Right. Well, I mean, you have to mention the mistakes. It's hard to steer away from that because that's what killed the drives that they had and took a touchdown off the board. But I think you come out with Berta, establish the run again, which hopefully opens up the pass, and you're able to dictate when you pass instead of having to go to the pass. You stay in front of those sticks and move the ball and let your defense play the way it's been playing.
And again, I'd be satisfied for that Valpo defense, a relatively young defense, only giving up, again, 7 points to a Lake Central squad. We'll take it. Again, they've given up a lot of points through these past few weeks, and now it's kind of up to the offense to try and put some points up on the board and, again, play a full complementary football game of all 4 quarters.
Steve, what have you seen from the LC defense that's allowed them to stop Thomas Bera? Because usually I think a lot of fans going into this was thinking Berta was going to have himself a big game against LC. But so far, they've kept him hemmed in, except for that one run he had that was called back.
Well, they've been very stout up the middle, making sure that they play their gaps. And the times that Berta has tried to bounce it outside, where a lot of times he does shake loose, their edge players are keeping him hemmed in. They're not letting him bounce the ball out. So, again, they're keeping him inside the box and getting more than 1 or 2 hats on him and gang tackling and keeping them hemmed in.
That's how you do it.
I know we asked you who's the best quarterback you ever faced. Was there ever a running back that you saw that you said, I don't want to coach against that ever again because no matter what we called or what we tried to do, we cannot contain him?
The answer to that is the whole Griffith backfield.
There you go.
All the above. Answer D.
Drew Rogowski, is it Matt Nelliman, I think. Sorry if I'm butchering names here, but like I'm not kidding. I stick that game in. You can find it on YouTube and play the whole thing. And I've watched it I don't know how many times, and it still gives me nightmares.
A couple hours of sleep loss, especially again going against those backfields.
That's when the gray hair started to form, right?
Right. Oh my gosh.
Well, it looks like the ball is teed up at LC, so let's send it back over there. More football on the RSN zone. Everyone's favorite word on a Friday. The other F word, football. I don't know what you're thinking, Justin. So Valpo's going to start with it. They're on the road, and their offense is trying to get going again. And both their drives where they did score ended up with field goals. And LC, as Mike said, scored about a 50-yard touchdown on a slant play, and there's a lot of yards after catch. As we said, I don't know if there was a Valpo Viking on screen when that receiver brought it in.
No, I mean, it is a nice play there, but it's been just about the only play for that Lake Central offense. Hoping to add to that total. They got to play defense first. And again, you mentioned the Energizer Bunny. A good return there to start the second half.
Now, I know Stokes was dealing with an injury a few weeks ago. Doug Nelson was telling me that he had missed a game or had at least been removed from a game early, and then he played against Merrillville, and that was when Valpo got blown out by the Pirates, in which it kind of, for me, showed that Merrillville is indeed the number 2 team in the Duneland Athletic Conference, and it's going to be a real problem in the 5A division, as they should be getting started again anytime soon against Chesterton. But right now, we're going to stick with LC and Valpo. And again, that's what you said, Steve. Up the middle, they are creating havoc, the LC defense.
Right, just stay in your gaps, play your position, don't try to do too much. And when you can force a back like Bera to stop his feet, then you're able to converge and again, keep them hemmed in like that.
Yeah, Bera has had a great career at Valpo, and he was a part of that state championship team a few years ago. Valpo, here down the stretch, played some pretty sloppy football. Hosick letting it go, and that's another thing, is that Hosick just has not been completing passes to his wide receivers, and that was about 2 heads too high.
I mean, lost first down, lost second down, now a 3rd and 9. You're nearly playing behind the sticks or at the sticks. It's not where you want to be, and Valpo, again, hasn't really shown much in the passing game. A little bit more in the running game, but LC doing a great job defensively.
Well, he got pressure on that pass right away, and he threw that ball off his back foot, and when that happens, the ball's going to sail just like it did there.
Yeah, I've been also surprised that the Valpo O-line doesn't look as solid as it usually does. Usually that's one of the best O-lines you're going to come across when you're watching football here in the region. So they're going to like to go through the air, blitz coming from the outside, man wide open, completed, and not sure if that's going to be enough, and it doesn't look like it is, as LC is celebrating a possible 3-and-out, because the way that Valpo has been struggling on offense, maybe they go for it. And Andrean finds the end zone again against Lowell. That was quick. 15 seconds in to the second half, and the 59ers are into the end zone.
Pulling out in front. They want to share that NCC title. Again, a win for them there. And if the lead stands over there at Highland with Hobart, their big lead over there, it could be a 3-way tie. But Andrean, again, was definitely on the outside looking in, especially after that loss to Hobart, then obviously having to play Hanover Central last week, and have played some great football over these past few weeks. And again, it gets them ready for the 2A. They haven't played a team below the 4A level yet.
We had the last drive for Wheeler in the first half.
So here's Wheeler's last drive to close out the first half. And oh, what a hit! Throw that kind of had the receiver going back and the Griffith defender laying the wood there.
Kind of a poorly thrown ball there. Tough one. That might have hit the hands there of Jaden Ortiz, but one they're going to want back. Now about 30 seconds left. Just throwing that one away.
Communication there, maybe.
Special teams back at it again.
Yeah, this is a field goal attempt, and it got blocked. Wow. And I believe Wheeler missed a field goal earlier, so that's now 2 that they've missed. So this score could be drastically different if Wheeler hits those 2 field goals. It'd be a 27-7 game.
Again, a lot of time left. Again, those are points you don't want to squander. 6 points in a game like this, they can go a long way.
Something for Griffith to hang their hat on in the second half.
Sure.
I'm curious to see what kind of adjustments Griffith is going to make in the second half. As we look like we got a long run here, but there is a flag. I wonder if this is coming back.
We've seen a decent amount of Wildcat, as we saw there from Lake Central. But obviously hands on the head there from the ball carrier. They're going to walk this one all the way back. Flag at the line of scrimmage.
That is painful to see a player have a nice run, get a first down, try to get that LC offense kickstarted again. You celebrate, turn around and look, and you see that one yellow flag, and you're thinking to yourself, well, that was all for nothing. Since I'm going back to where I started.
Looks like they borrowed that play from the Chesterton playbook.
Maybe.
They saw it enough.
A little bit of Wildcat power.
Well, they're thinking to themselves, they beat us, so we might as well try it and see if we can beat other teams with it. And it certainly worked there for a moment. And I didn't see the flag. Was it holding? Did anyone else see the call? Or?
I believe so.
It must have been.
Oh. One of those where you're fear the old lineman that called for the holding. He said, my bad. Back to the Wildcat. It must be because it's 2nd and 19. Wheeler and Griffith has restarted. Hanover Central is up 21 on Hammond Central. And it looks like Merrillville and Chesterton are retaking the field at the moment. 2 games going on. And hopefully we'll be having Lowell and Andrean on very soon. And Merrillville, who's up 10, is going to be receiving the kickoff. And it was Merrillville that got an interception to close out the first half when Chesterton was trying to get into the end zone, maybe even get a field goal to close out the first half. And instead, Merrillville got a wave of momentum one more time. Looks like a bit of a pooch kick there going on. And Merrillville is going to start at around the 40. What's your guys' thoughts on the new kickoffs in the NFL?
I mean, I'm a purist, and it's nice to see it on like Saturdays, of course, when college football's on. You still get a glimpse of that, but I think they could do some little bit of tweaks of it. You're getting kickers. They're so good they could kick it right through the back of the end zone. And, hey, you can give them again. You could have them start at the 30. They still trust their defense, but if you have the kicker kick it off, I don't know, maybe the 25-yard line, the 20-yard line, because these kickers are so strong nowadays, as we see.
Yeah,
right. I think you need to tweak it some, like you said, either move the kicker back or make it even a bigger penalty, so to speak, if you're kicking the ball through the end zone.
Because, I mean, I love returns. Again,
oh, yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite players growing up, Devin Hester.
We grew up on Devin Hester.
Right,
yeah.
and exactly. You love that third of the game as well. You don't see many kickoff returns. You see offensive drives. You got to learn how to score from 70 yards out in the NFL. And, again, if you have a good kick returner, you could also have, a botched kick. You don't really see that anymore because, no one's returning kicks that much anymore.
Well, it's also changed the face of the onside kick, where now you have to declare it, and you have to onside if you say you're going to onside. There's no more kicking it deep.
Valpo Vikings, they're going to pass. Hosick trying to set his feet. He's got a man open, and he got him. Julian Stokes. That is by far the best pass we have seen from Callan Hosick tonight. He has struggled at times.
Finally, again, we saw a lot of handoffs. Not much success in the passing game until then. Finds the Energizer Bunny. Outside the numbers, a good throw there from the junior.
Stood up there straight and stepped into the ball there and dropped it right in.
Yeah, dropped a Reese's right into the candy basket. Get yourself a first down. I'm more of a Reese's guy. What's your guys' favorite candy?
100%. 100%. I'm completely with you.
You ever throw it in the freezer and then open it up the next day?
That does sound good.
Oh.
Yeah, I usually can't wait. I usually can't wait that long. So I usually have to get it right out of the wrapper.
What about you, Steve?
Love Reese's. The better ones, though, are the special holiday ones that give you a little bit extra peanut butter.
Right around the corner now.
The Santa Clauses and the pumpkins.
Ooh.
And the.
I may have to stop at Strax and pick one up
I
on the
was
way
gonna
home.
Say,
big play for Wheeler. They just scored a touchdown. Can't wait to see that play coming from Thomas Marsh very soon.
To be a jet pass here, quarterback's best friend here to Stokes, trying to make something out of nothing. LC defense, so they're flying to the football out of blue hats, getting to those Valparaiso ball carriers.
They just look more determined than Valpo right now. Because they got bodies flying everywhere, and Valpo, they're used to those plays working, and they're thinking to themselves, how do so many Indians get in the backfield that quickly?
I mean, it's kind of something, I don't want to say, I mean, there's nothing to lose for Lake Central, but coming into this game, what I think they have, to my knowledge, 3 wins on the year to Valparaiso's 5. LC, they're looking to find that culture builder, and yeah, it's been a rough start. And again, they got a rough finish going to Penn after this. But a win like this here tonight, are just playing a great performances. Now they get back to Hosick, back on a 3rd and 14. I mean, it builds up that culture, and especially for Pete Koulianos, who was in his first year there with the Tribe.
And again, you get him in those predictable down and distances. You're able to pin your ears back and bring people.
Yeah, as you said, LC's got Penn, and again, a good measuring stick to where they're at compared to Penn, as Valpo and Penn faced each other earlier this year. And Valpo, they get to play LaPorte, in which LaPorte has been at the very bottom of the DAC. Their offense has struggled since their starting quarterback went down. It was struggling before that, but even more so. Their passing game has virtually disappeared, and they were getting beat by Portage, and Valpo just used a timeout. And knowing Bill Marshall and the success he's had the last couple of years, I'm assuming he didn't expect to go into LC tonight, and his offense has struggled badly, especially as they scored over 40 points, I believe, last week against Portage.
Right, and I hung 42 against Portage, but again, I mentioned kind of the dynamic between this team. They gave up 32 as well, including 10 in the first quarter. Of course, before that first quarter ended, they regained the lead, but that play, it's tough to sustain that for these weeks. And again, Lake Central, again, a team that may, and quote unquote, have nothing to lose. As that looks to be was that a dropped pass there or something?
It would have been
pass?
It would have been a guaranteed touchdown. It was a great play call, but I can show you the replay right here. Play action, had a guy coming from the left, and just it looked like a bad throw, just a little bit over the shoulder, too much on it.
Oh, again, that's a great play, but again, right
It
here,
is.
down in distance, again, you want a touchdown. You know you could run the football. I don't know what, I'm trying to figure out what the down is, but the ever-changing landscape of Northwest Indiana football, throwing it now on the goal line.
Exactly right.
Pound the rock, right, Steve, at that rate?
As a defensive coordinator, I'd be pulling my hair out saying, we run the ball all the way down there. Why are we throwing it? Punch it in.
Especially with that two-headed backfield for Merrillville, who they will start off. I think they will travel to Munster, if I remember correctly, in that respective sectional.
Trying to find that answer for you. Maryville's got Hammond Central.
Mix that one up. Yeah, so Morton will play. That is correct. Okay.
Even when you condense all the Hammond schools, feels
Right.
like maybe they still have too much. I know Zach Miller's listening upstairs, so
Yes, sir.
you got to be careful.
Yeah, Hammond Central, again, a good team. We might have a sudden change there at Lake Central.
I think they called them down.
Ball carrier might have been down there. Ball squeaked out, but Hammond Central, a gritty team. But I like that. Again, it's a sectional. Since this pairing kind of came about a few years ago, Merrillville has had plenty of success against Munster and the Hammond schools.
Big play happening on Griffith. They were on 3rd and 9, and the Panthers got a first down.
Merrillville just punched it over.
There's running the football there for Merrillville. That is what you want. Merrillville, again, just a dual threat in the backfield.
We're speaking about dual threat. LC using their quarterback, bringing it across the 40, the 50, good stiff arm, and going outside, going out of bounds. As it looks like you got marked out at the 43. That's a good run and something that LC has been looking for a minute. Their defense has given them a lot of support, but their offense needs to step up if they want to pull off the upset against the 7th-ranked Valpo Vikings.
Yeah, I like Cam Reddick a lot. That's the Lake Central quarterback there. Only a junior, showing a lot of flashes in the one game I saw him in person, and obviously he could do that as well. A big play there for Lake Central. Not many chunk plays we've seen here tonight, but a big one there for the Tribe.
I was just impressed with the stiff arm. Good form.
I like it.
He's a big boy.
Watched a couple Derrick Henry clips potentially. We see a lot of this from Lake Central, too. Empty backfield, but they'll bring a guy in motion. A little bit of a jet sweep.
The start of the second half for Griffith. You will get that touchdown play.
So, yeah, now we're watching Griffith and Wheeler. Thomas Marsh sending these in. We're not broadcasting the game, but we can at least show you what's going on. But I would call the game of the week.
That's for sure.
Two teams that are ranked within the top 10 in the Ennigenberg Region Sports Network rankings. So Griffith started off with the ball. There's a run there. And we're back to LC. We completed the pass. It was 2nd and 8. It was a determined run, but Valpo's linebackers getting there. Yeah, Wheeler number 5 and Griffith number 3. Wheeler's up 28-7 with 8:47 to go in the third. But Griffith, it looks like they're just on the 20. So, yeah, they are in the red zone.
Again, you cannot take your foot off the gas if you are the Bearcats. Griffith, again, they have that big playability, which is ever so important in these games.
Yeah, after this play, we'll show the touchdown.
LC, 3rd and 3, another fake. Run up the middle. Oh, get off me! Not sure if it's enough, though.
Second effort there, might have got it.
It's going to be awfully close. I wonder if they're going to... Here's the long play that we had seen that led to a touchdown.
Hey, there we go. Right place, right time. Thomas Marsh, Jaden Ortiz. Two-way player, believe it or not. He'll suit up and go right back on defense, but he's a great runner for the Bearcats as well.
It's almost like Travis Hunter.
Little bit. They got plenty of those over there on both sides, I should say. Again, it's one of the fun intricacies of that small school football. It's got a lot of guys. When they change possessions, a lot of guys are staying right on the field.
Yeah, you don't see that a lot anymore. And it wasn't up for a first half for LC, so their drive is staying alive. The only one player that I've seen that's not from a small school that has played both sides is Andrean Holly. But as you said, that is a Big 12 rusher that is going to Kansas next year. He also plays O-line for the Wolves.
He changes jerseys, I think. They got.
Yeah, he does.
He has two different numbers. Again, he plays, I think, offensive tackle, and then he's still got his jersey number for the defensive side. So it's kind of the cool things you see with him. They got a guy, of course, switching jerseys for him when, of course, they got to switch possessions.
Yeah, I believe he wears 55 offense and I think 12 on defense. Mm-hmm. LC is going to throw, and that's a smart decision. You're at 1 point. You've had yourself a good drive, right? Try to force it. And you got to think, if you have a chunk play here on 3rd down, make it about 4th and manageable, they got to go for it. You have nothing to lose, as you said, Mike.
Right. You're in that area where, a punt's not going to net you that much anyway.
Again, the gray area. You could try out your kicker a little bit too this late into the season, but you want to pick up this first down here, and more importantly, protect the football.
Crown Point scored a touchdown. They're up 21-0. Morton up 49-0 on the Cardinals of East Chicago Central. Hanover Central pulling away from Hammond Central, trying to get a share of their conference championship. LC, 3rd and 10. Man open, and that's going to lead to another Indians touchdown. A lack of communication. There was 2 Indians that were open and that they could have chose from there. And the safety can't cover 2 guys at once. And LC now has 2 passing touchdowns on the night. They extend their lead. Let's watch it here.
Little region replay here. Again, a big 3rd and 10. Cam Reddick in the pocket. And yeah, there is, again, put that safety in a bind there. Just go through your progressions. Lake Central, again, a big score now to start not start the 3rd, to just about end the 3rd. Valpo, how do they respond?
LC's quarterback is having himself a night. 2 passing touchdowns, had himself a long run. And, here we go. This looks new because this is new for us. This is Lowell and Andrean, so we're back in Merrillville.
And thank you all for staying with us. A little bit of technical difficulties at Andrean tonight. Working through some technical kinks still in Week 9. But, hey, what's a Friday night without a little bit of chaos? That's what we're here for. And got some live footage now, but Lowell now kicking off. Andrean got out to that pretty big halftime lead.
Justin, does that mean we get a triple box?
I wish.
One day.
Well, ball rolls out of bounds as Lowell was kicking off. They scored a touchdown, and they're not out of this yet. And there is a flag because the ball went out of bounds. So Andrean, they're up 27-14. Lowell found the end zone for the second time. We'll certainly see how that one plays out. That should be a fun finish. But Andrean, of course, we were talking about them earlier. They're riding a high after beating Hanover Central 3-0 last week. Andrean trying to make another deep run here in October going into November. Chesterton throwing it. That's a good pass, and it's completed. And they're inside the red zone. Chesterton's offense moving it down the field. There we go. 2 boxes. Andrean, Lowell, LC, and Valpo. LC just scoring, same for Lowell. But Andrean, they're trying to pull away and try to cruise to this win against the Red Devils here at home. Looks like they got themselves a good crowd.
Always a good crowd over there for sure. And obviously, again, for Andrean, a lot to play for. A win tonight, I keep saying it, but hey, they want that NCC title. Although it's a share with potentially 2 other schools, they'll take it.
With Chesterton, they got themselves a first down, and they can still get themselves another first down before goal to go. Here's a screen pass, get the big man in front, and again, LC swarming. Here's a play action, throwing, and that pass is completed for the 59ers. It was 2nd and 11. We saw this team have a good lead against Bishop Chatard for quite some time until Bishop Chatard turned it on in the second half. And me and the 2 Dougs were talking about that a lot a few weeks ago. It really feels like Andrean played some really good teams, and their record, even though it might be 4-4, it's kind of deceiving compared to some of the teams that they have played so far.
I mean, definitely. I mean, for the mainstream media, I mean, you can't look at that record. You have to dive into that, and that is not easy. And Steve, you could attest to this, but it builds them up. And again, this has always kind of been a smaller school, and this is why they are so successful. Of course, they always have talent, but it is a reason why they are so successful. Come again November, and when trophies are being handed out.
Right. Going back to when I was there, we used to. The team they play now is Merrillville. We used to open up with Chesterton.
Right.
You play those bigger schools, and it does nothing but get you ready. It tests you and makes you play up to your upper limits.
With Chesterton, it looks like they maybe just got themselves at least one more first down, and it looks like they needed to get to the 10, and they did.
Oh, I don't. They might. Let's see. They're stopping the clock. Yeah, they'll give them the first.
So if Chesterton scores a touchdown right here, and of course they need to get the extra point, something that they didn't get earlier, they could cut the Merrillville lead in half, as it was all Merrillville to close out the first half. But Chesterton sort of responding here finally.
Good to see Thomas Bera again playing well so far. That was, I think, technically a run pass, an extension of the run game, if you will. Swing your running back out wide. Good completion there from Hosick to lead Bera.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to find different ways to use Thomas Bera since the run game has not been working for them tonight. And that's a couple of times now they throw it to him. They try to use a screen play, swing pass right there. Well, also what they're doing is getting their big man out in space.
Get him out on the edge. Get him out past those DNs that have been hemming them in.
Where Hosick's going to use Bera as a decoy there. A little shake and bake to get himself a first down. Yeah, shake it before you bake it, guys.
You're not first, you're last, man.
I'm happy you knew what I was going with.
Yep. Great film. And Andrean now moving the ball. Jimmy Finley, nice catch there. Andrean's a team that really likes to throw the football a bit more. Now they had a great quarterback in their system and Scotty Ballantyne for a while, and now they got one coming up here. Brady Ellis, only a junior, kind of leading this offense. And again, quite the athlete over there for Andrean.
Hosick's running for his life here. Ooh, that was an awkward tackle. Good to see that he's getting up. Andrean, nothing much there. But time is their friend right now with them up 13 points. It looks like they're going to have to run at least one more play to close out the third quarter against the Red Devils. There's a touch pass to the outside and a Chesterton touchdown. Their first offensive touchdown of the night, and those LED lights, those are sick.
It's we see it a lot more nowadays. Schools have some light shows after touchdowns. One of the ones I remember, Wheeler. I think other schools again, just again a lot of trust and again funds being put into these athletic programs. We've seen it this year with a lot of new facilities because hey, these programs are getting better and better up here in Northwest Indiana.
Andrean's going to run up the clock in the third quarter. They're up 13 points as they will flip field. Chesterton, on the other hand, trying to at least get this extra point.
And they got it. believe that's enough for a first.
Well, we had there's a scoring error on the Merrillville Chesterton game. It is not 20-13. It is 23-13. So that did not cut the lead in half, but it did get Chesterton back into the game. It's still a 2-possession game, and it's good to see Chesterton's offense come alive as they have been stagnant.
Touchdown drive.
And we're going to take a look at the Griffith touchdown drive, the touchdown that they scored here in the second half. Of course, I don't think we're going to have any Griffith Panthers pointing to Thomas Marsh on the other side of the field, and that seemed to be the touchdown right there, maybe just a little short. Yeah, just a little short, so this had to be the setup.
But a 1st and goal on the 1. Run the ball here.
Go under center. My goodness.
They will take a touchdown there for the Panthers. Go under tush push. We see that more nowadays, right? The Philadelphia Eagles made that a little popular. So now Andrean will get going to start that final frame.
Andrean will be content to keep it on the ground, keep the clock moving.
Who does Andrean open up with in their sectional? Two-way again. I know, again, they play the winner of Wheeler Boone Grove.
They have Whiting.
Which that's a fun one. Again, they got to take care of Whiting first. As now it looks like a missed extra point for Griffith. A penalty, I think that moved them back. Again, another mental lapse we've seen special teams-wise. You talked about, some big plays going down in this game. You leave another point off the board for the Panthers.
Well, it was just 4th and 18 for Griffith, and I don't think they got the first down. It was awfully close. You can see the replay here, Mike, as I had it pulled open, and the receiver tried to spin and get to that marker, and he got marked just short. Andrean just ran the ball on 3rd and 7, and it was going to be close. A couple of Red Devils were swarming to the ball. So 23-13. Do not mind the 20-13 that you're seeing right now on the scoreboard. That is an error. But big shout out Reagan Still for getting this feed to us. And there's a sack for Chesterton. The Trojans have certainly been a second-half team this year.
No, and again, they wear you out, to say the absolute least. Again, Steve and I go back to that Lake Central game, but they could really run the football, and it kills you as a defender. You're tired of seeing this wildcat or seeing, again, these extensions of the run game, whatever it may be, and it wears on you.
And tired, the operative word there. You're out on the. LC's defense was out on the on the playing field for most of the second half.
Yeah, 3rd and 17. So I wonder if there was a holding penalty that we didn't see. Letting it air out, and the camera go out. And we're back over there. Camera came back on. Looked like it was incomplete, so we won't go back to that game. But we will head over to Merrillville and Chesterton, and back to Valpo as Bera dives. Did he get in? Nope, they're going to mark him short. I don't think the referee had Thomas Bera on his fantasy team, so he didn't give him the touchdown there. Can you imagine having to play fantasy football with high school teams?
There's a lot of great talent here.
Oh, here's a tush push.
There's a tush push
yes!
there.
Under center!
But a flag comes in. Refs are pointing. That might be offsides there. Touchdown should stand.
Yep, neutral zone infraction.
A tush push. They blow it?
For a moment there, I thought the referees were going to give Valpo a penalty for going under center.
He did not signal touchdown, so they must have blown the play dead.
Yeah, I believe they moved it, but maybe an inch or two, and because that's a half a distance to the goal, and then you have a LC player down. And I know that's one thing they've been talking about the NFL a lot, is the tush push leads to a lot of injuries. Before we get back to that topic, here's a ball tipped in the air and picked. Oh, man. Wheeler early on in this game could do whatever they want through the air, but Griffith has made those adjustments, and they're getting themselves back into the game.
It's, again, Klimzak did a great job in this winning streak of protecting the football. And now, obviously, that's when he's going to want back a ball that's tipped up in the air, and sometimes it's just unlucky. But, Griffith, you need those plays defensively to etch your way back into this game. And, again, they're not out of it just yet.
Coach, is that something you taught your D linemen when you were going up against a quarterback that threw the ball a lot? Is, hey, even if you don't get back there to put pressure on him, at least put your hands in the air and maybe you'll deflect it, and we go right into the tip drill.
With us, it was always a distance thing. If you're in the quarterback's face, we would say, don't worry about stopping to get the hands up. Get some hits on the quarterback, even if he got rid of the ball. But if you're being double teamed or something, and you're not close, then yes, get the hands up.
And it looks like we just got a Valpo touchdown. So there it is. They just confirmed it for the Valpo LC game. The referee from the side ran in, waited to confirm, and then we saw the arms extend over the head, and the Vikings offense wearing down LC's defense for quite some time, and they score a touchdown here early in the fourth quarter with 10:52 to go. Valpo's going to go for two and look to tie the game.
Now, we've seen Valpo's bag of tricks. We've seen a Philly special before to win it in overtime against Chesterton. Who knows what we'll see here?
We got a receiver in motion, and they're going to get it. Thomas Berta hauls in the pass, and we have a tied game over at LC. We knew this game was going to be good. We didn't even think it was going to be this good.
I love the play call there. Had a man in motion coming from the far side of the field, kind of broke his way back in to go to the near side of the field, snuck out Berta, had him wide open there. And Valpo, again, a Berta-led drive there, did not get the touchdown for the good thing for the ref with his fantasy team, but punched in there from Kellen Hosek. As we get an interception now, Chesterton, as we're kind of going over it again, that score is 23-13 in favor of the Pirates. But a big score there from Valpo.
Well, Lowell's got the ball back, 4th and 7. They're going to go for it, roll their quarterback out to the left, and throwing it to the sideline. And it looks like a signal from the referee that it's a catch and a first down. It's hard to see with all those bodies by the sidelines, but they're moving those chains and getting the mighty pointer finger. Again, Merrillville at Chesterton 23-13, but Chesterton just got a big turnover, and they're trying to get back into the game, as there's still plenty of football left, about 13 minutes left to go there, and Valpo and LC, they just got tied up after Valpo with an 8-point swing, scoring a touchdown and getting the 2-point conversion and a hookup with Thomas Berta.
Now that Chesterton running game starting to come alive, it's the Andrew Govea time right here late in the third quarter. Good return there from Lake Central, as we saw over there, but Chesterton now going to start to wear you out. And, again, those body shots there to that opposing defense.
Well, that looked like a shoestring type of tackle, too. And then it looked like that returner for LC was about to hit an open field. Chesterton handing it off, and that's going to get a good chunk of change there. And it looks like they need about 4 or 5 yards, so looks like it's going to be about 3rd down. Tough to tell. Here's Lowell with the quarterback power. And Andrean's just going to drive him back.
I think there's Jimmy Finley there again playing up in the box. I mean, he's do-it-all guy. We talk about him a lot offensively, but he could lay the wood at the safety position as well.
Yeah, the Northern Illinois commit, Jimmy Finley, who's had himself an impressive year. I believe he's averaging around 70 yards per game offensively.
And his first season as a receiver was last year, really. Again, they kind of went through some turnover at that position, and he was, again, a top ball hawk, I think a sophomore year in the defensive backfield. Moved him over, obviously saw his ball skills, moved him over to the offensive side as well as defense, and he's doing just fine.
Yeah, we were talking about him in the pregame show, getting into RSNZONE. That's what you're tuning into here this evening on this Friday night, just hitting 9 o'clock. Adrian Mile with Mike Dewan and Steve Pachowski. We got Justin Cole behind the laptop. But that catch from Finley last week, did you see it, Steve?
I did see it.
Couldn't miss it.
How do you teach that? Is that even something you can teach?
You can't teach that. That's just something that happens. It's not giving up on the ball.
Right.
I mean, you're in a position there where you're reaching up with one hand and saying, okay, I'm going to bring this ball down.
I didn't know Stickum was still legal in the region.
And again, an old coaching point: always use two hands. But in that case, when the ball again, you gotta make some plays. Our cameraman might get faked out there. Looks to be a double reverse there. Couldn't get much going there for the Indians.
They're doing everything they can. They're going deep into the playbook to try to get around the Valpo picket line, which is their defense.
We're going to go to a Griffith highlight.
There we go. There's our, we call this like half a game because we're getting all the highlights, but not the actual game itself. So we have about 3.5 tonight.
Griffith now trying to make it a one-score game. Again, that PAT could be looming. Now what do we got? A 2nd and 1 on the 24.
Handoff, get that first down.
It's like the ball came loose.
Oh yeah, because Wheeler is celebrating. So they've had themselves a turnover and so it must have been a guy down, and here's a bad snap. So this must what put Griffith back so far, because it was about 4th and I think 18. We'll see that later on. Lost a lot of yards on that one play.
Nice play there to try and get some back, but an errant snap like that, things go from bad to worse.
Yeah, here it is. 3rd and 17. Off the hands. No.
Ball that got there. Again, a good play by the DB, but kind of acts as a shield for the ball and throws off the receiver's timing.
Yeah, this was the 4th and 17, and they got 16 out of it.
Either touchdown or
Backbreaker.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, though. I've been really impressed with the ball placement of the Griffith quarterback. You said he was a sophomore.
Yeah, right. Ryan
and a first-year starter.
I want to say he's in top 5 in the area for passing, as we have oh boy, what a punt. Special teams coming to play tonight. I don't know if we're just noticing it now. But that's a punt pinning them inside the 5-yard line. That's what you need for that LC defense that has done a great job against the run. Now you pin your ears back and maybe try and get 2 points out of it.
Well, as Pat McAfee always says, whenever he sees a good punt like that, that's for the brand. Great punt by LC. Tied game going on there. 23-13, Merrillville leading. Chesterton, they got a huge turnover. It's 3rd down. What kind of play do you think they're going to go with right here to try and get this first down and keep the drive alive?
Again, thinking that it's 2-down territory or at least a field goal. They might run a draw play here and see what they can pick up to.
Thomas Berta running down the field. Is this a 95-yard touchdown? It looks like it is. Thomas Berta going the length of the football field, and the Valpo Vikings, for the first time, lead in this game.
Wow. Obviously, shadow over your own end zone. You probably got to hand it off here. And to do that, that is an absolute body blow for that Lake Central defense that has been playing very, very well. Here we got the replay here. Just a counter. Hat on hat. Makes a man miss. We'll see ya.
Well, Thomas Berta wasn't on pace to have 100 yards, but when you run one for 98, 97 yards, that will help. So Chesterton did get that first down, and they threw a ball into the end zone that was batted away, and Valpo gets the extra point. 7:39 to go, and the Vikings lead. Big-time players make big-time plays. Doesn't matter how long it takes them, but Thomas Berta finally breaking one, and he's got that second level of speed. Once he gets past that first wave, he's gone.
He's a battering ram, too. He offers that size and speed that we've seen a lot from these Valparaiso running backs.
That's just got to be demoralizing for LC to to pin them down back like that. And you've been playing well. You've been bottling Bera up for most of the game, and to have that happen, that's a backbreaker.
And we've seen just Lake Central just compete in these games, compete, but one play goes awry or a couple, who knows, and the game just gets out of their grasp. They still got a chance in this one, but now on the outside looking in.
When Andrean just got themselves a first down on 2nd and 1, and you got to think if they score a touchdown here, that could be the game. But then about halfway through the 4th, and Andrean already up by 2 scores.
Yeah, Andrean, a fun offense. That O-line led by Big Ben Novak, number 77. He just offers that next level frame, and Wisconsin obviously sees that because he's a Wisconsin commit, a recent Wisconsin commit. Wisconsin offensive lineman, not bad. Not a bad pipeline over there.
Get yourself up there in that weightlifting program, eat some good Wisconsin cheese. You'll bulk up real fast. The meat and cheese.
Andrean still throwing the football, as you see there.
And that's Novak right there,
Big
right?
Ben
Number 77.
Novak.
Dear Lord, I don't think he needs to bulk up anymore. That is a big man.
And we see penalties rearing their ugly head again here. Chesterton trying to punch the ball in, and they're backed up 5 yards with a penalty.
Again, you can't give that Merrillville defense any more of an advantage. And again, that score is 23-13.
And talking about flags, just seen one in LC.
A lot of that yellow ticker used on our software here tonight. Andrean still throwing the football. And again, you're up 2 scores. I don't know coaching philosophy here, but again, you're controlling the game so far against a little team that they're still trying to find some points. They scored a little bit in the second half, but still throwing the football. Obviously, things have worked throughout the course of the year, but I don't know. I think you want to try and move the clock there if I'm Andrean.
Well, Chesterton's going to go for the field goal to see if they make this a 23-16 game. And did they just get a Merrillville Pirate the jump? They did, and if so, is that going to give them... Actually, it was already a goal to go, so that's not going to give them a first down. But it's going to move them a little bit closer.
About a 3-yard penalty, we could call it. But hey, game down 2. I mean, do you take your points there? Again, an extra couple yards. It is a tough Merrillville defensive front, though.
Yeah, the way that Chesterton has been playing it, I think this is a right call for them. Get these 3 points. See if your defense, that's been looking really good, I might add in the second half, see if you can stop Merrillville one more time. 28-13 still for Wheeler and Griffith. And the field goal was good, so there it is. It's a 1-possession game. Merrillville only up by 7 now on Chesterton. And no, I'm not that bad with math. It's the scoreboard is wrong if you're tuning in the RSN zone.
Good game over there, definitely. But maybe not a trap game we could call it, but Chesterton's just, they're playing like, they're still ranked number 10 in our poll, and then they're playing just like that. Now what do we got, a 4th and 10 there at Andrean?
Yeah, and he's got a false start penalty. Here we go for LC.
Trying to get something going again now. Just like that, a sudden change. You got to send your offense back onto the field after that. Of course, a great punt followed by a Thomas Bera. I want to say 97-yard touchdown. It's not easy to do with offense. Again, obviously, confidence is kind of riding low. But again, if you could at least get the ball in a short field, hopefully after a defensive stop, that'll get your spirits up with a tie ball game. That is quite the contrary here for this LC offense.
Yeah, you got plenty of time, so no need to panic, no need to get away from your game yet.
That might be one of the longest runs of the year that Thomas Bera just had to give Valpo their first lead. There's a good pass that's completed, and that's a first down. It looks like a similar route that LC had in the first quarter that led to their first touchdown of the game, about a 50-yarder. So paid off once again to keep this drive alive. 6:39 to go. Clock is ticking in the Student Athletic Conference matchup. LC will face Penn in the first round of sectionals, and they're trying to close out this regular season with a win. But their offense got to step up right here.
We talk talented O-lineman. LC has one of their own, and Jimmy Johnson, the left tackle there, I believe number 69 at the bottom of your screen. Got
this is another flag.
Just backing them up. Again, you get a big first down there and move yourself beyond the sticks. It's not what you want.
Steve, I got to ask, how many times did you ever pulled your hair out because of dead ball penalties?
Well, let's just say that some repairs on headsets had to be made at times.
Clipboards were not safe around.
Clipboards, headsets, you name it.
Pens flying into the stands.
Chalkboards at halftime. Yeah, it's.
You ever had that, Mike? Sounds like you're talking from first-hand experience.
Yeah, of course, it's the game. Can't bat 1,000 too in this game. There's bound to be a couple mistakes and bound to be a couple chalkboards broken here and there. So
Merrillville, they're up 7 points. Handoff, and that's what they were trying to hope to do is their dual threat backfield, double J as I've been calling them, can milk that clock and get Merrillville a win on the road. And it doesn't matter who you're facing. Any games on the road is always tough, especially to get a win against a team like Chesterton.
Now both teams here are going to have to throw the football. We see Lowell gets tackled in the backfield and Cam Reddick trying to do whatever he can for this LC offense, but two solid defensive fronts in Andrean and Valparaiso, respectively. They could at least have some guys that can get to the quarterback and pin their ears back and go.
Well, Wheeler just had a big play negated. It was a touchdown. That would have made it a 34-13 game, but it's getting called back. A lot of flags. And I wonder, and I'll ask you, Steve, since you're the guy that has the most experience here, is it just a end-of-season fatigue standpoint where you're seeing a lot of these mental errors, seeing a lot of penalties? I don't know if I've ever seen this many on the RSN zone.
Well, I mentioned earlier, it's uncharacteristic to see it. You don't want to be seeing that late in the year. There should be no reason for it to lose focus no matter where you're at. It's not as if what do we have here?
Well, I think of basically an arm punt from what we saw, 3rd and 8, kind of just throw it down. But now we got another flag we were kind of looking at here. But, yeah, obviously, Tina, you don't want to lose focus, especially going in, again, either whether it's a bye week next week or whether it's your first playoff opponent.
Right, and that's the thing. Everybody has something to play for again coming next week. So it's the old cliche, throw the records out. Everybody's starting over 0-0. So you still have a lot to play for. And again, week 9, these mistakes should not be happening.
But Chesterton has the ball back, down 7 with about 8 minutes to go. That's going to be interesting. Lowell on 4th and 1 is going to convert with a quarterback power. That's just Lowell football.
Hold on now. Hold on.
I should have known that was going to happen. That's on me, guys.
Flag right in the middle of the pile. Oh, that's going to be on Andrean.
The flag that we saw for Valpo LC was personal foul, so add 15 yards for that interception.
Again, a pick that Cam Reddick just tried to throw it down the field, and not the worst thing to happen, I could say. Again, it's basically an arm punt in this case. But now Valparaiso, we know they could run the football, and this is when they are deadly. When they smell blood in the water, and you got a running back like that in your backfield.
Yeah, they've certainly woken up. I'll give you that. Valpo struggled, and it looked ugly for a majority of the game, but then they broke its 97-yard touchdown. Lowell's quarterback is athletic. He is all over the place. He's been using his legs to his advantage, trying to keep his team in it, but they're going to have to start throwing the ball if they want to get back in this. They're down 13 and 2:35 to go with only 2 timeouts.
Clock is their enemy now.
Yeah, and there it goes. The clock is running right now.
And again, I think Brody Kolinski is their Lowell's quarterback, but again, only a couple 5-yard runs can only get you so far down the field. Got to score 2 touchdowns.
Got to start being aggressive a bit.
Got to move quick.
Timeout, flag, nope.
Yep, we got a flag.
Too much time? Oh my gosh. How does that happen when you're trying to hurry up?
I don't know. This
is such a strange week of high school football that we're seeing.
And again, you don't want to chalk it up to growing pains because again, we're here. You've been playing together for, we could call it, 10 weeks of actual. Again, you got that week 0 scrimmage, of course, you got to worry about too. So you've played against another opponent for 10 weeks, and to have, we've seen all across the board just unforced errors.
Maybe the referees haven't made their quote on penalties for the year.
Maybe not.
They got to make up.
They certainly did on Monday Night Football this past week with the Jets and the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if you guys watched that game where they racked up over 200 penalty yards.
That was ugly as Andrean now gets to the quarterback. And again, false start sets you behind the line. Of course, you got to throw the football, but it just pins your ears back more for that Andrean team. Defense is playing just very, very good football as of late.
Merrillville has the ball back, so Chesterton couldn't do anything with it. As they're down 7, the scoreboard is not giving Merrillville 3 points. It's 23-16 at 2016. Lowell's got to throw this ball, and it's incomplete, I believe. Yep, all right, just want to make sure. 4th down.
Andrean a play away from a share of the NCC title.
And do we have any, and from what I saw, Hobart already taking care of business against Highland. It should have been a running clock, so Hobart looks like they're going to get the win. And here's a big play running down the field, the 10, the 5, touchdown Pirates. That might be the dagger. But let's make sure there's no flags first.
Everybody's looking back.
There you go.
Spoke too soon.
Good call, Andrew. 4th and 18 now.
Yeah, that's game.
Andrean. Conference champs going to be what I think that Hobart game looks like it went final. So it will, results hold up. Anything crazy. A 3-way tie for the NCC crown. Something that was probably difficult to be said, as little as, 3-4 weeks ago.
I think that's the 3rd time in the last 4 years where this has happened in that conference.
Valpo moving the ball downfield, looking to put away.
And guess who? Big time Bera.
Staying inbounds, smart there.
Exactly.
Almost looked like he gave himself up there, and it's almost nice to give yourself up almost before the sticks, because again, if you pick it up maybe in a play or two, again you burn an extra timeout while still moving the sticks after a few plays. Kind of works out in your favor.
LFC's got themselves an injury as the trainer had to go out to the field to get one of the players. Looked like grabbing his right arm or right shoulder. But checking that Striking Van Til hometown scoreboard. Of course, if we're not following any of your teams that you are tuning into, you always head over there and check out the scores as they're constantly being updated whenever Skibbs upstairs is getting those scores. Yeah, Boone Grove taking to Bishop Knoll 48-0 as we have kind of a pause and play with the 3 games that we are checking in right now. Knox, wow, 61-0. Yeah, might as well check on what's going on with Griffith and Wheeler, the game of the night, as we would call it. And there's a big hit, and dirty laundry flying in.
Guess what? Again, early indication we could see here, but...
You get a flag. You get a flag. Right. Everyone gets a flag.
Backing them up once again.
Yeah, Hobart 49-6 against Highland. Right down the road from where we are sitting. Incomplete, and another flag.
Another flag.
This is a week high, I'd say, of the season.
Flags and missed extra points. Not sure what we've seen more tonight. Rahosik, he's navigating through traffic, and he's got a first down for the Vikings. And I don't think LC can stop that clock.
Hosick using his legs a little bit more this half. Arguably an X factor in this one. Looks to be a screen set up and a drop. I don't know if that was going anywhere to begin with. Jaden Ortiz was the first guy there. Probably a play they run for him in the Wheeler offense, so we've seen that a few times there defensively.
So one of our games has just gone final. Andrean and Lowell. Oh, another flag.
Oh, scramble drill there. Looks like going to be a legal man, I believe, downfield. So now a 3rd and 23. Bad to absolutely worse. Pump and go. Going to swing it out. Try and get something.
Oh, no flag that time. That's good.
Hold up.
Yeah, we're not done.
Well, Andrean gets the win 27-14. Andrean will finish the regular season 5-4. Lowell will drop to 4-5. Lowell will have Hobart in the first round of sectionals. Andrean will have the Oilers of Whiting.
Lowell Hobart, that's going to be one to look out for. That game's at the Inferno, both games as well. Andrean, though, a different team than last year. An early exit, surprisingly, in the 2A sectional. I don't know if they won a game in their playoffs last year, in their sectional, which is very, very rare for Andrean's sake. They're hoping to change that this year.
Oh, that's a dropped pass. Merrillville had a for sure touchdown called back. Not sure what the call was, but you do a long run, you can always expect it to be holding, in which it could have been the dagger, but it kept Chesterton in the game. In Valpo, they're looking for the dagger right here. If they can get a first down, it could be it mathematically. Looking at that clock, because they're getting past the 2 minutes, and there is no 2-minute warning in high school. So Valpo very close to escaping LC with the win. And here's Merrillville running the ball. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. And are we going to...
Wait.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Looks like all the referees are coming.
I think we are good.
I think Merrillville is going to score that touchdown. And that's going to put them at 29-16.
And
I think that's a first down for Valpo.
I think a tush push there.
And that's going to make it kneel down time, it looks like.
So it baffles me that teams on 3rd and 1, 3rd and inches, 4th and inches won't just use it. Like the Eagles have given every team the blueprint and how to get a first down on those short down plays.
It is tough. I mean, when you have a Hall of Fame center, that sure helps things. I mean, we've kind of seen some repercussions of, again, they're working in some new centers over there at Philadelphia, but also a quarterback that could squat 600 pounds and Jalen Hurts. That's not bad to have.
I believe that was an Oklahoma record when he did that, right?
And a tush push again here.
Oh, some hand fighting. Is that going to be a first down? And it looks like the referees might... Yeah, looks like they could be bringing out the sticks to measure this one out. Is if Valpo gets this
they're
first...
giving it to him.
Yep, they gave it to him. Valpo is going to beat LC.
Again, they find ways to just play good football, specifically in the second half. Is it sustainable? I don't know. But, hey, a win's a win, and they'll kneel this one out and steal that one from the burial grounds, I should say.
Chesterton trying to stay in this one. As the final at LC is the Vikings 21 and the Indians 14. A good win for Valpo, but you got to feel pretty bad for LC. They had that game. They pinned back Valpo, and then Thomas Bera doing Thomas Bera things, rumbling for 97, 98 yards, and that really sealed the deal for the Vikings.
Yeah, for Lake Central, I mean they've lost some close ones. It's again kind of one step forward, 2 steps back in some of these weeks, and there's a lot of talent on that side over there at Lake Central. It's rough, and again, a coach's first year, Pete Koulianos. It is not easy to again rebuild that culture, put your own kind of spin on it. And there's been some close losses there for Lake Central. They won this one tonight. I could only imagine.
Just like any other facet of the game, winning is something that you have to make part of your culture. Teams can identify as a running team, a passing team. Well, you also have to have that winning mentality. Some teams will sit there and something will happen, and they're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You have to be able to erase the mentality out of your kid's head. And that was something back, telling you that I was back with Wheeler a couple years ago. We had to change the culture there, and it's not as easy as just calling plays and setting up your defense and things like that. It's all the extra things, and it's getting kids to believe in themselves and believe in the program. Where you pin a team back like that, you're not going to make the mistake, and you're not going to let a guy run for 97 yards. Most football games come down to 2 or 3 plays, and it's nice to be able to say, well, we played well all these other plays, but hey, when it counts, you have to be ready to make the play.
So Valpo will go to 6-3 and 5-2 in conference to finish out the regular season. They have LaPorte, a team that did not win a game during this regular season. LC drops to 3-5. They then go to 2-4 in the DAC play. They have Penn, which is not going to be easy, but as you mentioned, there's a touchdown for Chesterton. They're not going away.
No. I believe that was Govea. But, Steve, to go back to your point, you mentioned LC, again, a tough road ahead. And looking at the other side of the coin there, Valparaiso, they have kind of built that winning culture, specifically, again, under Bill Marshall. Of course, you got to praise those that have come before him with those Valparaiso teams of whenever. But, I mean, in today's day and age, Valparaiso, especially in the playoffs, we've seen seasons where they're not really up to par in the regular season, like that state championship. Again, they were a team that was, again, they really circled the wagon and got hot at the right time, and that builds a winning culture, and we saw it there tonight. Again, a halftime lead of 7-6 in favor of the Tribe. To go back down and obviously to score a touchdown of that magnitude, being backed up there at your own 3-yard line late in the fourth quarter. A one-play drive there. Thomas Bera, having a player like him who's a part of that culture as well, who has seen it all. Kudos to them over there at Valparaiso.
Yeah, belief is a wonderful thing. Believing you're going to make the play, believing you're going to come out ahead in the end. Those things, when you are faced in situations like that, first down on your own 3-yard line, and you got to move the ball out of there. You dig a little deeper, and you get the job. You find a way to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that play broke because Valpo was then using Thomas Bera differently, kind of extending the run game through those swing passes and kind of wearing them down by forcing them not to only stop Bera, but also raced to the sidelines as quickly as they can, and finally they were expecting something to go outside. They would give it to Bera, and he had maybe, one tackle he broke, and other than that, he was gone. And you have to give a credit to your O-lineman for getting down the field, because if you only get touched one time for a 97-yard touchdown, your O-line did their job.
Right. And I think what happens there is sort of like the old option play. It's 3 yards in a cloud of dust, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and you wait for that opening. You don't know when it's going to come. And a back like Berta, you give him just a little bit of daylight. He saw it. He stuck that foot in the ground and turned the play up, and he was gone.
So now we got a game here at Chesterton. I'm peeking in here again. Clock, under 3 minutes to go. Merrillville, again, a similar situation we saw with Valparaiso. Another winning culture over there for Merrillville. And we know they could run the football as well as anybody over here.
So I believe they finally caught on that their score was wrong, because it's 29-23. So Merrillville must have missed their extra point when they scored their most recent touchdown. So it was 29-23. So that makes things interesting, because if Chesterton can get the ball back and score, they could win the game with an extra point.
Hey, again, special teams, third of the game. Again, it makes this game, again, a 7-point lead is much nicer than a 6-point lead, and looks like we got a Pirate down now.
We're going to go to some Griffith highlights.
And we do have to remember, though, Chesterton has that score because they have already missed an extra point.
Right.
Let's take a quick look at Wheeler and Griffith. That score is Wheeler 35, Griffith 13. It does not appear that the Griffith Panthers are going to have their perfect regular season for the first time since 1997.
And Wheeler just doing a great job at getting to the backfield. Obviously, you want to wrap them behind the line there, but they are just flying to the football, and they look like they want this one a little bit more. Great run after a catch there, though.
Yeah, Wheeler has the ball back in the live game. These highlights being sent to us by Thomas Marsh, who's doing a phenomenal job for the Region Sports Network and helping us out here on RSN Zone. Griffith's trying to find the end zone, and they couldn't hook up there.
It's a good ball.
It was a good ball. Wheeler's defense tonight has been bending but not breaking. So what? Third down here. Still throwing it. Yep. Now it's fourth down.
Just a tough Wheeler defense.
And they're bringing the blitz here. Man.
Again, we talk about that Wheeler offense a lot, but the defense often goes unnoticed. And again, bend but do not break. Get the ball back and hoping to put this game on ice.
Wheeler has Boone Grove to open up sectionals. Griffith will go up against Bishop Knoll. So minute 29, Merrillville has the ball. Not sure how many different timeouts both sides have, but it is third down from what I'm seeing here. And a good distance to go from Merrillville, and someone just used a timeout. So I'm seeing, what is that, Justin, about a minute 14?
Yep.
Okay, so minute 14. Hard to tell with that last number being cut off. Guys, what's it going to take for Chesterton to pull up the upset here? I know that their chances of winning are slim, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta follow those steps. You gotta win the downs here. They're ever more important, and we've seen a lot of pretty decent movement from that Chesterton offense, hanging 23 points on a good Merrillville defense, and they did a lot of that a little bit through the passing game, I'd like to say. Right. A little bit more of an evolved passing game, which we'd like to see from this Chesterton team moving forward to sectional play.
That's probably what you're going to need here is just a good chunk play to...
But you got to get off the field first, right? I mean, that's...
So we're going to see the extra point from the Wheeler touchdown, and you're seeing it right there. 35-13, and that is the score right now with 42 seconds to go.
I gotta say I'm a little surprised.
I am too.
That Griffith team has been playing very well, and I mean, looking at previous matchups, like River Forest was as we see, looking over here real quick, I think Merrillville might have picked up that first down, but looking at previous opponents and how they matched up against previous opponents that they both faced, I don't know. I mean, I might have saw Wheeler coming out with this one, but in this fashion, truly, truly impressive.
Well, here's the thing about that, and not having the bracket ahead of me, but if things kind of play out how you think they should, I think Wheeler handled Boone Grove earlier in the year, and Griffith handled the Knoll Warriors. They might be looking at themselves across the field again in a couple weeks, having a quick rematch.
And what makes it so hard about beating a team twice? And if they do face off again, would that give Griffith the advantage over Wheeler, or does Wheeler think, "Hey, we blew you out, we can do it again"?
I don't think Coach Test over there at Wheeler is going to let them think anything like that. I don't think that'll happen. That adage, hard to beat a team twice. I don't know. It's hard for a leopard to change its spots. So you are what you are.
Exactly. So it looks like Merrillville's gone final after that big first down, and I think all of our games we've seen have concluded now. Looks like they're putting the bow on that Wheeler game, and just like that, a fun night of football, but comes to an end. A lot of pretty good games, fellas.
So I'd say so. I mean, you saw. I think my favorite game of the night was Valpo and LC, because LC landed some early haymakers. They came out, scored a touchdown in the third quarter. I thought they had a really good shot at winning this game, but of course it's Valpo. Leave it up to them and Bill Marshall to turn them around, and for Thomas Bera to wake up and score that 97-yard touchdown. And if you're going to win a game to close out the regular season and get ready for sectionals, You need your big-time running back to score you one of the most impressive touchdowns I've ever seen to win a game.
I couldn't agree more. That's, again, big-time players make big-time plays, and Valpo has one in their backfield. Again, an X factor going into this game. He went down in that Portage game later in the game. To see him come back and do that, lead them to a win, a big second-half comeback, although I guess they were down 8 points at one point, and LC did score that first score of the second half. To see Valparaiso respond like that, a lot of poise in that group, but especially, again, quarterback Kellen Hosick, as well as his backfield mate, Thomas Berta.
Right. It's nice to have that mentality that knowing that you can score from any place on the field at any time. So
I know we didn't get to see a whole lot of this game, but kind of following them and seeing how these last 2 weeks have gone, the Andrean 59ers are the hottest team right now, in my opinion. And that's the thing that they always tell you when it comes to any sport. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And right now, the Andrean 59ers are getting hot at the right time. And how many times have we seen teams win major championships because they got hot at the right time and everything was clicking into place?
That's all you need. Again, a younger offense, a young quarterback. Again, Brady Ellis, only a junior, and a couple young guys that are going to be some promising Andrean 59ers moving forward, a part of some promising Andrean 59er teams, but are now having to grow up throughout, again, in front of our eyes to see all this happen. And again, for Andrean to get that win here tonight against a pretty good Lowell team, they'll take it.
It looks like we're watching the final seconds in the handshake as Griffith's perfect season ends at home against the Wheeler Bearcats.
And not to disagree so much with what you said about Andrean, but I think that team we're looking at right there on the screen might be your hottest team.
I was going to say
in the region.
Griffith was hot going into this, and Wheeler as well. They lost their first 2 games of the year, and then win their next 7, second consecutive division championship in the GSSC. That's a hot team too, and 2 teams that can meet in that 2A sectional. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun between those teams, to say the absolute least. But now we got some scores coming in. But I think that's all the games we got. Kind of wrapped up here for us. We got plenty more for you guys. We got the RSN wrap-up show coming here soon, and a great week of football to say the least.
And a good final week of
Crazy.
the regular season. It's hard to believe that it's getting close to the end of October. Halloween's coming up in 13 days. So it's getting to the witching hour. We're going to find out which teams are for real and who's going to walk away with some hardware this year. And maybe we can see one more region team head down the state and walk away with the big one at Lucas Oil Stadium. So, guys, any final thoughts before we wrap it up and get ready for the Region Sports Network wrap-up show?
Yeah, I think, again, we got that wrap-up show coming up here later. We're going to talk about probably the sectional play and, of course, moving forward to Week 10. But, again, a great week of football, a great regular season of football, and always fun to do it in this format with you guys.
Yeah, let's rev it up and let's get ready for the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
All right, so for my partners, Steve Pachalski and Mike Dewan, I've been Andrew Mile, and we are going to take a quick break, and then we will be right back. And stay right here on RSN Zone as you're watching the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Have you checked out Centier Bank's student checking account? This no-fee checking account is perfect for students and teens ages 14 to 24 and comes with all the features you need to succeed, such as a debit card, digital banking, and automatic deposit. Centier Bank can help you start establishing good spending habits today for your better tomorrow. For more information, visit Centier.com/student-checking or visit your local branch. If you are under the age of 18, your parent or guardian must also sign on the Centier student checking account. At the age of 25, your account will automatically convert to the Centier checking account. You must deposit $25 to open this account. This account is not eligible for overdraft advantage. Member FDIC.
Four Seasons Mechanical proudly serves Northwest Indiana, providing quality, reasonably priced, reliable service. With a quality and comfort guarantee, the professionals at Four Seasons Mechanical offer a wide range of services in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Whether it's residential or commercial, Four Seasons Mechanical is there 24/7. To find out more, the website is fourseasonsmechanical.com or give them a call at 219-756-7020. Four Seasons Mechanical, your indoor air quality specialist.
Earn while you learn from the best hands in the business. The Bricklayers Allied Craftworkers for Indiana, Kentucky Apprenticeship. That's right, this is a paid apprenticeship.
I'm getting an education while learning a trade and getting paid for it.
The thing that surprised me the most about this apprenticeship program is the respect I have received after the proper time and training.
Classes start soon, so apply now. There are training centers throughout Indiana and Kentucky. We are the Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers for Indiana, Kentucky Apprenticeship. The best hands in the business.
Flip the switch, a light turns on. Press the button, machines and instruments come to life. Touch the screen, communicate with the world. Simple tasks, guaranteed results, every second of every day. That's the power of power. And that's the power brought to you by the NECA contractors and electrical workers of Local 531.
We love home internet from T-Mobile. Oh, now Mesh boosts Wi-Fi all over your home. Take a class in your attic, that dead spot is gone. Stream ballet in your man cave, learn to paint on your lawn.
It's glorious.
And now on the road, you can take T-Mobile Wi-Fi with you. Hey, stay connected and watch what you'll do.
Better Beef of Indiana. Hormone-free, locally raised, and locally processed beef. Better Beef of Indiana is located in Valpo at 2600 Beach Street, where you could buy individual cuts of beef completely raised in Hebron. From single pounds of ground beef to filet mignon, Better Beef of Indiana has it all. Visit their website at betterbeefindiana.com. Follow them on Facebook or call the owner, Kevin, directly at 219-508-5797. Better Beef of Indiana, where quality meets value.
Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso is a leader in athletics apparel and equipment sales. With in-house production including screen printing, trophies, embroidery, and more, Blythe's can help you to create the perfect look. For more information, visit them online at teamblythes.com. Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso, where the athletes shop.
Some see a student athlete working hard in the weight room. We see a future leader learning there are no shortcuts to success. Some see a start to a swim meet. We see the starting blocks for life. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
You're watching RSN Zone on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town. Andrew Mile with Mike DeWan and Steve Pachalski. We have some bonus content coming to you from Thomas Marsh at Griffith, in which Wheeler got the win. Griffith's perfect season comes to an end tonight. They will not go 9-0. They will finish the regular season 8-1. Take us through these plays, guys.
Again, it's just trying to find something for the Griffith offense, but this Wheeler defense has stepped up tremendously and route to now a division title in their respective side of the GSSC. Again, Steve, you said you've seen these guys kind of grow up from your time there, and even kind of, again, in this capacity. And now a second straight season for them, winning the outright. Just the entire conference outright, let alone, again, their division. It's truly cool to see, again, Wheeler, a program that is still growing. And the Nick Testa, of course, doing great things over there now in his second year, 2 division titles for him.
Yeah, and again, we spoke on it earlier. Probably the hottest team in the area right now. I mean, you kind of, there's Crown Point and then there's everybody else.
Sure.
Crown Point has just been on a burner all year long. But Wheeler, I mean, wow. You not to say that you didn't think that they could win this game, but to win it in the fashion that they did, I don't know if anybody expected that. So kudos to them. And it'll be interesting to see what they do in the playoffs.
Right. I mean, Griffith was averaging north of 45 points scored a game and giving up, I think, less than 7 a game. So to do that, and it's still a very talented Griffith side, but Wheeler, again, a hot team like Andrean, like those Crown Points as well, and it's what you need, and especially in Week 9.
Well, it's funny enough that Steve mentioned Crown Point, because with Griffith losing tonight and Crown Point taking care of business against Michigan City, Crown Point, the only undefeated team left in the region. They go 9-0 for the 3rd year in a row. They have not lost a regular season game since October of 2021.
It's incredible things what they're doing over there. It is, and again, obviously, it is. Of course, they want to keep that trend going. Come the playoffs, start for them in 2 Fridays from now. But it's been a magical run for the Bulldogs and Coach Bazzie over there.
Yeah, having coached under. I think I can almost say I coached under so many coaches. I feel like a broken record, but having coached under Coach Bazzie before, it's not surprising that he's got Crown Point where they are right now.
They've become the standard, to say the absolute least, here in NWI. And it's, again, with playoffs starting right now, I think a question that gets asked a lot is, what is the floor of this team? And it is very, very high, as well as some of these other teams here in Northwest Indiana.
Well, that's going to do it here on the RSN Zone, the 4th episode, and a segment that I really enjoyed, and looking to the future for this as it continues to grow. And that's going to do it for here, and then we're going to send it over to the wrap-up show. But before you do that, big thanks to my partners Mike Dewan and Steve Pachalski. Thanks, guys. You made my job very easy tonight talking football. You guys contain so much knowledge, and it was really fun to probe your brains and kind of ask you what's going on around the region.
And it's always a pleasure. It's barely a job, when you're just sitting there talking about football.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Exactly.
And then, of course, our producer, Justin Cole, who's been behind and pushing all the buttons. He's done a great job getting this up and running, and it was really fun. You can see all the different screens that we get to look at and how much fun it is when you have 3 games going on, and for us to keep going and checking up with the games. And if you want to check the score, you can go over to the Track and Van Tail Hometown Scoreboard. But we're going to wrap it up here and send you on to the wrap-up shows. This has been the RSN Zone here on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.